Chapter 2395. Boss Zhu quickly called Zhao Guangyin, "Young master, Lin Yi saved Qinshi. Although he's injured, he should be fine. He can still hold Qinshi." "What?" Zhao Guangyin was shocked. Pu Laolu is an Earth-class late-phase peak, and Pu Huati is a psychic. Even they couldn't stop Lin Yi? Looks like there's no one left. "Young master, what about Qinshi?" Boss Zhu asked. "You follow Lin Yi. Go get Qinshi back first. Your identity hasn't been exposed, so it's fine." Zhao Guangyin was angry and unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. He could only say, "Wait for you to come back and think about it. Tell father and I the details." "Yes," Boss Zhu quickly replied. So, as soon as Lin Yi left the villa, he saw Boss Zhu at the door. Boss Zhu, on the other hand, pretended like he'd just arrived, panting and sweating. "Lin Yi, is Lil she here? I've been asking around for a long time and finally found out where you're staying. It's so hard to find." Boss Zhu's acting was quite good. Of course, he was always acting in front of Qinshi. "Grandpa Zhu, you're okay? That's great." Qinshi was happy to see Boss Zhu. "Qinshi, Grandpa Zhu is fine. You were suddenly knocked out by a few people. Sigh. Grandpa Zhu is useless. I couldn't protect you," Boss Zhu said helplessly. "It's okay, Lin Yi Gij saved me." Qinshi didn't doubt Boss Zhu's words at all. "Qinshi, go back to the villa first. I want to talk to your Grandpa Zhu." Since Lin Yi saw Boss Zhu, he wouldn't let him go so easily. "Ah." Qinshi was taken aback, but she still nodded because of her trust in Lin Yi. More importantly, she listened to Lin Yi's words. Then, "I'll go back to the villa first." Qinshi didn't know why Lin Yi was looking for Grandpa Zhu, but she didn't ask. She turned around and left. "Mr. Lin Yi, thank you so much," Boss Zhu said pretentiously. "All right, old Zhu, stop pretending. Let's talk in the car." Lin Yi pointed at his car and said to Boss Zhu, "Ah." "What do you mean, Mr. Lin Yi?" Boss Zhu's heart skipped a beat, but he still pretended not to know. "You know what I mean. I killed those hidden Zhao family members. Don't you want to know how they died?" Lin Yi said coolly. "What hidden Zhao family? I don't understand." Boss Zhu's heart skipped a beat, but he still asked with a blank face. "Haha, get in the car if you don't want to die." Earth-class early-phase practitioner, Lin Yi didn't say much and pointed out his level. Boss Zhu's face changed. He didn't think that Lin Yi would be able to tell what level he was. It seemed that Lin Yi really did know something, otherwise he wouldn't have said that. The fact that he was a practitioner was suspicious enough. All right. Boss Zhu's face changed. He nodded and got in the car with Lin Yi. "What's your relationship with Qibing's Uncle Zhu? Are you his brother?" Lin Yi already guessed that Boss Zhu was related to the hidden house Zhao. His surname was Zhu, so naturally, he connected it to Uncle Zhu. "Yes, he's my brother." Boss Zhu gritted his teeth. He knew that there was no point in hiding it from Lin Yi. Lin Yi already knew his identity. "Why did you run to Qinshi's side? What happened today? What was going on? Why are you guys hiding House Zhao?" Lin Yi asked. I'm sorry, I have my own master. There are some things I can't say." Boss Zhu rejected. Boss Zhu refused. "You and Qinshi can expose my identity, but I still can't say anything about the Zhao family." "Expose you?" Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu playfully. "Do you think that you'll be fine if you don't say anything? Then, what do you want?" Boss Zhu's face froze. "Elder Bai, I even dared to cripple you. Who do you think you are in my eyes?" Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu condescendingly. "I asked you to get in the car to ask you something. Don't think I'm begging you. I can kill you any time I want. Do you believe that no one from House Zhao will stand up for you after you die?" Boss Zhu started sweating. Lin Yi was right. Elder Bai was almost in a vegetative state from Lin Yi, and House Zhao didn't even dare fart. If they dared to look for trouble with Lin Yi, they wouldn't need to borrow a knife to kill him. "That's right, but your master is a bit too weak." Lin Yi looked at Boss Zhu. "Perhaps you'll have a better future with Zhao Qikuan? Your brother Uncle Zhu might not always be a cripple." "You? What do you mean?" Boss Zhu's eyebrows twitched as he stared at Lin Yi. He wasn't sure of Lin Yi's intentions. "Nothing, I'm just saying." Lin Yi said faintly. Wu Qintian was crippled, but now he's in Earth class early phase. Pai Zhihai, that Zhao Yaowang from your house said that he couldn't make it anymore, but isn't he fine now? Since Boss Zhu could find his way here, Lin Yi believed that Boss Zhu must have seen the hidden house Pai come out of the casino. At this point, if Boss Zhu still didn't understand what Lin Yi meant, then he'd be an idiot. Lin Yi's hint was clear. There was no future with Zhao Qibing, but there was a future with Zhao Qikuan. Not only was there a future, but there was hope for his brother's recovery. Although Uncle Zhu's injuries were serious, Boss Zhu thought that Wu Chuntian and Pai Zhihai's injuries were even more serious. If they were fine, then Uncle Zhu's injuries were probably nothing to Lin Yi. It wouldn't be hard for him to recover. Can I think about it? This is too important, Boss Zhu said after a moment of silence. After all, it was impossible for him to betray House Zhao. He'd been with House Zhao for so many years, and he couldn't bring himself to destroy House Zhao with Lin Yi. But to change masters and work for Qikuan, that was something he could accept. Chapter 2396. Of course, Lin Yi didn't expect Boss Zhu to agree right away. That wasn't realistic. If he agreed right away, Lin Yi would suspect that there was something wrong with him. Lin Yi didn't believe that he had some sort of king's aura that could make Boss Zhu submit right away. Wu Qintian, Hidden House Han, and Hidden House Pai's submission all had specific conditions. Boss Zhu only talked to him once and he'd submit? That wasn't realistic. Pho. Boss Zhu let out a breath of relief and said gratefully, "Thank you. What's with Chen Shi?" Lin Yi asked. Chen Shi is the illegitimate daughter of the young head. I'm someone the young head arranged to be by her side. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else right now. I hope Mr. Lin can understand and don't force me, Boss Zhu said. Lin Yi could get some information from Mrs. Chen later on, so Boss Zhu didn't hide it. Oh. Lin Yi paused. He didn't expect Chen Shi to be Zhao Guangyin's illegitimate daughter. This Zhao Guangyin was pretty good at messing around when he was young. It wasn't enough that he had Zhao Qibing, but now he had an illegitimate daughter? But what surprised Lin Yi was that the daughter of House Zhao was picking up trash. House Zhao has a strong patriarchal mindset, and they're very clear on the difference between the legitimate and illegitimate sons. Boss Zhu saw Lin Yi's confusion and explained. So that's how it is. Lin Yi nodded. It made sense now. This was most likely the reason why Zhao Qikuan wasn't valued. Zhao Qibing was the son of Zhao Guangyin, the young head of the house. Even if it was passed down, it would be his son who would be the heir, not Zhao Qikuan. Thinking of Zhao Qikuan, Lin Yi asked, "How's Zhao Qikuan now?" Zhao Qikuan, at the Hidden House Summit, he wanted to call Mr. Lin and tell him that Zhao Qibing's car was modified, but he was caught red-handed and is now under house arrest. Boss Zhu didn't hide it. These things weren't too important. Qikuan would tell Lin Yi about it when the Sky Elixir School's test was held, so Boss Zhu was just telling him first. He's under house arrest. Lin Yi was very surprised. He didn't think that Qikuan would be locked up because of him. It seemed like Qikuan had truly accepted him as his boss, or else he wouldn't be like this. This surprised Lin Yi. But after knowing this, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore Zhao Qikuan. He was locked up because of him, and this time he was going to the Sky Elixir School's test. It seemed like House Zhao wanted to use this chance to get rid of him. Mr. Lin, I can't do anything about this. I can't interfere with House Zhao's business. Boss Zhu thought that Lin Yi wanted his help, so he explained bitterly. It's fine, just tell him to go to the test in peace. I'll take care of everything. Lin Yi said. That's easy. Boss Zhu nodded. This was something he could do. About the Hidden House Pai, don't talk about it, they're all dead anyway. There's no evidence, Lin Yi said faintly. Whatever you want to make up later, that's up to you.
All right.
Boss Zhu sighed. He didn't say anything yet, but he was already on Lin Yi's boat. But what else could he do if he didn't agree? If Lin Yi wanted to kill him and Uncle Zhu, he could do it with a wave of his hand. No one could protect him, so he had to give in. Chen Shi, I'll leave her to you. I don't want anything to happen to her. Lin Yi said with an unquestionable tone. If anything happens, you'll be in trouble too. I understand. Boss Zhu quickly replied. Alright, since you're here, you can take Shinshi back, Lin said. He wasn't worried anymore. You know what to do, right? I know, Boss Zhu nodded helplessly. After getting off the car with Boss Zhu, Lin went back to the villa and saw Shinshi sitting on the sofa alone, not watching TV or reading magazines, just sitting there like a fool. It wasn't that Shinshi didn't want to, but suddenly staying in such a luxurious villa made her feel uncomfortable and restricted. She didn't dare touch anything in the villa. Shinshi, since your grandpa Zhu is here to pick you up, you can go back with him. I won't be sending you off, Lin said. Ah, okay. Shinshi was a bit disappointed. She actually wanted Lin to send her back, so she could spend more time with Lin, but she didn't dare say it out loud. She could only nod. Study hard when you get back, and don't always pick up trash. If you don't have money, asking Ziyu for it. Lin didn't want Shinshi to be distracted by these things. Yeah, Ziyu said, but evidently wasn't going to do that. Lin didn't have a choice. Shinshi and Ziyu were close, but Shinshi wouldn't use Ziyu's money. After sending Shinshi and Boss Zhu off, Lin looked at the time. It was still early, and he was about to ask Meng Yao and Yushu what was going on when Lin got a call from Lingshan. Silly girl, your call really came at the right time. Lingshan's call came in just as Lin was done with the things he had on hand. Why are you calling me silly girl again? Lingshan felt a little familiar with the way he called her. She remembered that Lin hadn't called her that in a while, and hearing it now gave her a strange feeling. Ah, I just remembered, so I called you that. Lin thought back to when he first met Lingshan, feeling a little emotional. In the blink of an eye, they were all from Songshan to Donghai City. You missed me? Lingshan's voice started to sound a little sweet and coquettish. A little. Lin didn't deny it. It had been a long time since he last saw Lingshan, and seeing her today made him feel a sense of closeness. It was just that Lingshan had a case to deal with, so Lin didn't talk to her much. Real or fake, I'm pretty happy. Lingshan was a little surprised. It's just a simple thing between friends, Lin added. Can't you just add that last part? Lingshan said, a little discouraged. There are different types of friends. Lin sweated. He didn't expect Lingshan to react this strongly. Alright, if that's the case, can you help me look into the kidnapping case? Lingshan felt a little better. Chapter 2397. I got this case as soon as I came to Donghai, and I went to the police station yesterday to look at the fake Lin's file. According to Qintian, the kidnappers were very similar to the fake Lin. They were the type of people who had no intelligence and weren't afraid of death, or rather, people who had their brains destroyed and hypnotized, Lingshan said. Oh? Lin paused. He hadn't had the time to ask about the details yet, but now that Lingshan was talking about it, he did feel that the two cases were quite similar, and he subconsciously thought of one person. He remembered what he saw at the Hidden House Summit. This kidnapper and that fake Lin, weren't they similar to the contestants in Mingyue brought? No wonder Lin felt that this person looked familiar back then. The person Li Biaohan had found was similar to this type of person. It should be the Firewolves. Lin guessed, and the Firewolves were the first people he thought of. Firewolves? Lingshan frowned. Naturally, she'd heard of the Firewolves before. The Firewolves weren't any weaker than the ancient sections. They were a gang, but other than being notorious, they didn't have any solid evidence. The police couldn't do anything to them. More importantly, the number of practitioners they had was enough to fight against the ancient sections. Normal people wouldn't be able to touch them. It's just a guess. Lin said, but it's very possible that it's Jiang Wen's doing. Of course, in the end, the person you catch might be a small fry that the Firewolves used as a scapegoat. Don't hold too much hope. It's good that we have a direction. Lingshan sighed. Of course, she knew what Lin was talking about. If this was really done by the Firewolves, then the Firewolves wouldn't have left any evidence behind. This could be seen from the fake Lin that they captured. Come to my villa when you're free. I'll give you a small chi gathering pill. You'll be able to advance to the early phase of Earth class after you take it. It'll be good for your daily work. Lin said, East Ocean City is not like Songshan City. The level of the cultivators here is obviously higher than Songshan City. Alright, I'll go get it after I'm done here. Ling Shan said. Thanks. Oh, why are you thanking me? Lin Yi smiled. Ling Shan's heart warmed, and she happily hung up the phone. But then she thought about the firewolves, and her head hurt again. Donghai, Jiang Wen's villa. This was the third time Xiao Chun called Lei Daming. Lei Daming, is your money ready or not? Our patience is limited. If we don't see the money in an hour, we can only say sorry. Xiao Chun said coldly through the voice changer. I really don't have money, Lei Daming said with a sad face. It's not that I don't want to pay, but I'm no longer the chairman of the Merchant Association. The Hidden House Xiao doesn't let me manage the business in Donghai anymore. They sent me to Jiduan City to manage the business. You don't know how to ask for money from the Hidden House? Xiao Chun, naturally, didn't care about his excuses. 1 hour. If you don't have the money, I'll kill you. Then, Xiao Chun hung up the phone, ignoring Lei Daming's crying. But after hanging up, Xiao Chun changed his violent attitude and said respectfully, Master Wen, what Lei Daming said is true. He really doesn't have the money. I've asked around, and the chairman of the Donghai Merchant Association has been changed to an outsider called Pingzhan. What? Changed to Pingzhan? Jiang Wen froze. Yeah. Why don't we kidnap Pingzhan's daughter and extort some money from him? Xiao Chun suggested. Of course, he was new here and didn't know about the relationship between Jiang Wen, Pingzhan, and Meng Yao. Xiao Chun, don't talk nonsense. Scorpion knew about Jiang Wen's situation. He glared at Xiao Chun. Shut up. Forget it, Scorpion, he doesn't know. Jiang Wen waved his hand. He didn't blame Xiao Chun. I've been chasing after Pingzhan's daughter. If I kidnap her and she finds out about it, I won't have a chance. It seemed like Jiang Wen didn't have much of a chance now, but he still had a sliver of hope. I'm sorry, Master Wen. Xiao Chun jumped in fright. He made a mental note that he couldn't offend this Pingzhan. But what about Lei Daming's daughter? Kill her if she doesn't pay for an hour. Jiang Wen said coldly. Let's make an example out of her. It's not easy for us to kidnap her, and if she doesn't pay, we won't let her off easy. Mark the price clearly and honestly. All right? Xiao Chun nodded. An hour later, Lei Daming didn't pay the ransom, so Scorpion killed Lei Daming's daughter and left her body in the wilderness. He told Xiao Chun to call Lei Daming to identify the body. In a garbage dump in the suburbs of Donghai, a couple of police cars had their lights flashing. Lingshan, Lu Wangli, and the others were standing beside a woman's body. The other police officers were cordoning off the area. Lei Daming was crying on the ground. He didn't think that the kidnappers would really kill his daughter. Lingshan felt that the kidnappers were too arrogant, but she didn't really sympathize with Lei Daming. This guy was a dog of House Zhao, and when he was the chairman of Donghai Commerce, he worked with some local businessmen to bully and chase away foreign investors, turning Donghai business into a mess. Now that he was abandoned by House Zhao, and his daughter was killed by the kidnappers, he was reaping what he sowed. But as bad as Lei Daming was, the case had to be solved. After investigating the scene, Lingshan brought Lu Wangli to House An's villa in Donghai. Since Lin Yi said that this might have something to do with Jiang Wen from the firewolves, Lingshan naturally had to go and investigate. When Lingshan arrived at the villa, Jiang Wen wasn't at home. Only Jiang Wen's father, and Mingyue, was there. Mr. N, I'm Lingshan from Donghai's criminal investigation team. This is my ID. Lingshan handed the ID to An Mingyue. Lingshan and An Mingyue weren't strangers, but Lingshan still had to be professional. Chapter 2398. Mr. N, is Jiang Wen home? We have something we need to talk to him about. Lingshan got straight to the point. Oh, you're looking for Jiang Wen? He's not home. What's the matter? And Mingyue asked calmly. Where is he? We're looking for him to cooperate with the investigation. Lingshan said. I see. Why don't I call him and ask him to come back? And Mingyue saw that Lingshan wasn't going to say anything, and after some hesitation, he dialed Jiang Wen's number and told him everything that happened. Of course, he didn't say anything unnecessary. He believed that Jiang Wen would understand what he was trying to say. Jiang Wen, naturally, understood what his father was hinting at, but he didn't understand how Lingshan could have gotten here so quickly. Jiang Wen was confident that he'd done everything perfectly, and there wasn't any evidence left. Lingshan probably didn't come here through evidence. Still, Jiang Wen went back to the villa immediately and greeted Lingshan warmly. Officer Song, you were looking for me? Jiang Wen, you're familiar with the recent kidnapping cases, right? Lingshan asked straightforwardly. Normal methods wouldn't work on people like Jiang Wen. Kidnapping cases? I've heard of it, but no one from Housen was kidnapped? As expected, Jiang Wen looked at Lingshan innocently. Jiang Wen, I'll cut to the chase. Lin Yi asked me to find you. The Firewolf Gang's research on these people that are similar to practitioners. Don't tell me you have nothing to do with it. Lingshan wasn't just beating around the bush with Jiang Wen. Someone like him wouldn't admit anything no matter what. So, Lingshan decided to ask him directly. Jiang Wen didn't expect Lingshan to ask like this, especially since it was Lin Yi who asked her to come. His face changed. He wanted to deny it subconsciously, but he knew that he couldn't. Lin Yi probably knew about the things he had done, such as kidney removal, underground boxing, bank robbery, etc. However, Lin Yi did not have any evidence, and Lin Yi probably could not be bothered with him for the time being. But this time, Lin Yi had personally instructed Lingshan to come to him. Evidently, Lin Yi wasn't happy with the kidnapping. Jiang Wen frowned. He seemed to have offended Lin Yi a little too much recently, especially after Pingzhan's car accident. Lin Yi didn't like him at all. He remembered what his father said about Lin Yi's feat at the Hidden House Summit. Jiang Wen hesitated, but decided to give in. His position in the Firewolf Gang was indeed very high, but didn't the Firewolf Gang's law protector similarly admit defeat in front of Lin Yi? Plus, Lin Yi's performance at the Hidden House Summit could only be described as shocking. Even those Sky-class masters didn't dare to make a move, so how could Jiang Wen fight against Lin Yi? And so, Jiang Wen decided to give in. Is that so? But, Officer Song, you know that I may be the person in charge of the Firewolf Gang in Donghai, but some of my men might use our practitioners to do bad things for their own selfish reasons. I didn't pay attention to it before, but since Officer Song reminded me, it seems like I've overlooked it. Don't worry, Officer Song, I'll investigate the people in our group, and those who have the qualifications to use those practitioners. I'll investigate them one by one. If it really was one of our men involved in the kidnapping, then I won't go easy on him. I'll bring him to you personally. I hope so. Lingshan nodded. This wasn't the result she wanted, but it was still a victory in comparison. Jiang Wen gave in. The person he handed over might be a small fry, but it was better than nothing. Of course, Lingshan knew that the Lin Yi and her words had an effect. Jiang Wen was obviously afraid of Lin Yi, and that was why he was trying to shirk the responsibility. Otherwise, there was no way Jiang Wen would give in without any evidence at all. Lingshan didn't say much and left with Lu Wangli. She knew that the kidnapping case would be solved soon, but the real culprit was still in hiding. The Firewolf Gang, also known as Firewolf Group, was the real culprit behind all this. Fuck. We just made some money, and Lin Yi's here to cause trouble. Jiang Wen was furious after Lingshan left. Jiang Wen, Lin Yi has a big grudge with us. With the current situation, it really isn't a good time to have a conflict. And Mingyue said, let's stop the kidnapping for now. Okay. Jiang Wen was angry, but he knew that he couldn't do the kidnapping business anymore. It seemed like he had to focus on other businesses. Boss Zhu sent Qinshi back first before returning to Donghai City. He went to Gambling Bro's casino first and learned about the situation from him. Of course, this was to make it easier for him to lie when he got back. He mainly wanted to test how much Gambling Bro knew. But now, it seemed like Gambling Bro didn't know much. He didn't see how Pu Laolu and Pu Huati died, and he didn't know Old Pai's real identity. This made Boss Zhu sigh in relief. After Boss Zhu returned, the first thing the Hidden House Zhao did was call for a family meeting. Boss Zhu followed Lin Yi's orders and blamed the whole thing on Lin Yi, but didn't mention the Hidden House Pai. As for the reason why the Zhaos were killed by Lin Yi, it was because of the casino. Boss Zhu said that the boss of the casino sold out the Hidden House Zhao's identity. Of course, Boss Zhu was reversing the sequence. Gambling Bro did sell out the Hidden House Zhao, but he did it after, not before. As for the reason why Lin Yi suspected those people, it was because Lin Yi saw through Boss Zhu's strength. Naturally, Boss Zhu wouldn't say it out loud. If House Zhao knew that he was exposed, he'd probably be sent back to the hidden house. He wouldn't be able to stay by Qinxi's side, and he wouldn't have a good ending either. I didn't think that Lin Yi was this strong, killing Pu Huati and his bodyguards. Old Zhao was shocked. This Lin Yi wasn't weak at all. No wonder he was so arrogant during the Hidden House Summit, saying that he had the strength to fight Sky Class. Chapter 2399. But now, he was venting his anger on the casino. But before old Zhao could say anything, Guanyin spoke up. Father, this casino owner is a two-faced scoundrel. He's not a good person. How dare he betray our hidden house? If we don't teach him a lesson, he won't know who the boss of Donghai is. Yes, of course we'll teach the casino a lesson, but we'll have to wait until this blows over. Old Zhao waved his hand. At least wait until the news of Pu Huati and Pu Lao's deaths reach Southeast Asia. We'll go to their sects and let them know who killed their disciples. If we do it now and they blame it on us, it won't be worth it. Lin Yi is a sly bastard. He's capable of anything. Yes, father. Guanyin had wanted to attack the casino right away, but his father's words made sense. If they did it now, what if Pu Huati and Pu Lao's deaths were blamed on them? Grandpa, that Lin Yi is so strong, Zhao Qikun. It was finally Qibing's turn to speak. He wasn't interested in taking revenge on the casino. He was worried about Qikun. If Qikun got Lin Yi's support, then who could stop him if he wanted to take over? Father, Zhao Qikun must be removed. Guanyin hesitated before suggesting. Haze. Old Zhao sighed. He thought that if they could get rid of Lin Yi, then even if Qikun didn't die, he wouldn't be able to do much. He'd be kicked out of House Zhao and become a normal rich man. But now, it seemed like he had to get rid of him, or there'd be endless trouble in the future. Head, Zhao Qikun is still a bit against the idea of joining the test, but if we tell him that Lin Yi is joining as well, then maybe he'll go willingly. Elder Zhu suggested. Oh. Old Master Zhao pondered for a moment, then nodded his head and said, All right, go tell him. I won't see him. Old Zhao had made up his mind, but he was still a little emotional. Boss Zhu felt a little smug. He'd said this to get in touch with Qikun, and as expected, the mission had fallen to him. This was because he had already calculated that old Master Zhao was a little sad and probably wouldn't go. Qibing and Qikun, on the other hand, were enemies. Qikun might not believe his words. Since Zhao Guanyin was Zhao Qibing's father, it wasn't suitable for him to do such a thing, so after he suggested it, it naturally fell onto his shoulders. It could be said that it was logical. Yes. Boss Zhu quickly responded. Unknowingly, Boss Zhu also realized that he had already boarded Lin Yi's pirate ship. It was impossible for him to leave. This was already destined from the moment Lin Yi discovered his identity. Therefore, although Boss Zhu was reluctant, he had no other choice. Luckily, helping Qikun was also helping House Zhao. It was just two different factions, so Boss Zhu didn't feel too much of a burden. They came to Qikuan's room and knocked. Boss Zhu pushed the door open and walked in. Qikun was sitting on the bed with his eyes closed, practicing. He didn't open his eyes when he heard the door open. Put the food on the table, I'll eat later. These days, there had been people delivering food to him every day. He was used to it. There were masters guarding his door, and even with his strength, he wouldn't be able to escape. Qikun was too lazy to run. As for the food, Qikun didn't worry at all. Hidden House Zhao wanted to get rid of him, but they wouldn't do something like poison. Houses had rules, and if they did something like that in the future, people would start using poison in the fight for the head of the house, and then Hidden House Zhao would be wiped out. So, to get rid of Qikun, they had to use the Sky Elixir School's test. Qikun had seen through the truth these days. He had accepted his fate. Qikun, someone told me to tell you, don't worry and go to the test. Boss Zhu lowered his voice and whispered to Qikun. Ah. Qikun opened his eyes abruptly and looked at Boss Zhu, confused. He wasn't a stranger to Boss Zhu, but he had always been Qibing's follower. Now that he came over and said something like this, Chikuan didn't know what was going on. But Boss Zhu didn't continue the topic. The head of the house told me to tell you that Lin Yi is participating in the Sky Elixir test as well. Chikuan frowned as he looked at Boss Zhu, a little surprised. He couldn't tell which side Boss Zhu was on right now. If he was one of Zhao Qibing's people, then there wouldn't be a problem with the second sentence. In order to let him participate in the test, he wouldn't reject it, so he told him this information. In fact, Chikuan knew that this was Qibing's plan to get him to join the test willingly. It was an overt scheme. But what Boss Zhu said in a low voice when he just came to the room was worth considering. Who did he say that on behalf of? Zhu Boss Yu? Chikuan frowned, unsure of what to say. I don't want to die. Boss Zhu only said this and left the room. Don't want to die? Chikuan paused, but he wasn't an idiot. He quickly realized the connection between the two. The first one, Boss Zhu, was speaking for someone, and the second one was speaking for the head of the house, Elder Zhao. Since the first person was able to say something that made him feel at ease, it didn't need to be said who this person was. In addition to the two words Lin Yi in the second sentence, Zhao Qibing was sure that Lin Yi was the one who told Boss Zhu to bring him a message. And the reason why Boss Zhu gave in was simple. He was afraid of death. This made sense. After thinking about it, Chikuan, who had been depressed for so long, couldn't help but feel excited. It seemed like Boss Zhu hadn't forgotten about him. His act of sending him a message had paid off. Lin Yi must have found out about him through some other channel, so he told Boss Zhu to bring him this message. Like this, Chikuan didn't really mind joining the Sky Elixir sex test. He'd just see it as training with Lin Yi. After Lin Yi ended the call, he went to Han Jingjing's villa next door. Chapter 20, 400. That method. I don't think it'll work, Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He wanted to try it again, but Qin Shi woke up before he could, and then Boss Zhu came, and Lingshan called, so Lin Yi didn't try Spring Rain again. Now that Han Jingjing mentioned it again, Lin Yi didn't want to give up and decided to try again. It's not working. Han Jingjing was a little disappointed, but she still said, it's okay. I believe Lin Yi bro can think of other ways. If it really doesn't work, I will make second-level elixirs in batches. Let's try again, Lin Yi said. Let's go to your room now. Okay. Han Jingjing listened to Lin Yi's words. The two came to Han Jingjing's room, and Han Jingjing asked, do you need me to do anything to help Lin Yi bro? No need. Just wait on the side. Lin Yi shook his head. Oh, okay. Han Jingjing nodded. After that, he started channeling the chant for Sky's Spring Rain and tried activating the first form. But suddenly, a miracle happened. On Lin Yi's hands, a light blue mist of pure energy suddenly appeared, and as Lin Yi activated the technique, the light blue energy suddenly left Lin Yi's hands, floating in the air, and then fell like spring rain, entering Han Jingjing's body. This situation made Lin Yi a little stunned. He had been failing before, and suddenly it worked, which made Lin Yi feel like it was unrealistic. It worked just like that? Lin Yi was a little surprised. Huh? Lin Yi bro, is this the method you created? It's very effective. Jingjing feels a lot more energetic. Han Jingjing was also very surprised and impressed. If Lin Yi bro used this method when I was making elixirs, you can indeed replenish Jingjing's pure energy and stamina. You feel it? Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect that the martial skill that he had failed to activate before would suddenly succeed in front of Han Jingjing. Why did Lin Yi feel that this was unrealistic? Yeah, I can feel it. Why did Brother Lin Yi say that this method is ineffective? Han Jingjing asked curiously, but Jingjing feels that it is effective. It's working this time. Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. Previously, when I was at home, I tried to activate this martial skill, but it didn't work. Why didn't you succeed? Is it because Jingjing isn't around? Han Jingjing blinked and asked doubtfully. Not beside me? Lin Yi was slightly stunned, but then he felt a sense of enlightenment. That's right. The reason why he didn't succeed in activating this martial technique before was because Han Jingjing wasn't beside him. In other words, there was no recipient. The basic function of this auxiliary martial technique was to replenish the physical strength and true qi of the people on his side, but there was no one on his side. Lin Yi activated the martial technique against the air. How could he activate it without a recipient? After figuring this out, Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. It was really a wake-up call. Yeah, Jing, you weren't beside me before. This martial technique of mine can only be activated when there is a recipient on my side. There is no one here, so of course, I can't activate it. After Lin Yi figured this out, he was a little excited and surprised. It seemed that it wasn't that he couldn't activate the water martial technique, but he just didn't figure it out before. And brother Lin Yi is really smart. You figured out the key to the problem in an instant. Han Jingjing nodded and said, Jing didn't think of it. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's sincere face. He was a little embarrassed and ashamed. If Han Jingjing didn't remind him, Lin Yi would really ignore this point. However, Han Jingjing put the credit on his head, which made Lin Yi feel very embarrassed. However, looking at Han Jingjing's big watery and innocent eyes, Lin Yi found it hard to imagine that Han Jingjing was deliberately complimenting him. After coughing twice, Lin Yi said, let's start to study alchemy and see if we can refine second-grade medicinal pills in batches.
Okay.
Han Jingjing nodded. Like before, I'll simulate alchemy? And let's simulate it first. For the sake of insurance, Lin Yi let Han Jingjing simulate it first. Otherwise, if it failed, it would be a waste of materials. Okay. Han Jingjing took the cauldron and asked after preparing, can we start, brother Lin Yi? Yes, let's start. Lin Yi nodded and began to circulate the spring rain martial technique. Han Jingjing began to condense the alchemy fire and prepare to simulate alchemy. Soon, Han Jingjing's alchemy fire was condensed, and then she began to simulate alchemy. It could be seen that Han Jingjing's physical strength and true qi were consumed very quickly. After a while, her forehead was covered with fine sweat. As for Lin Yi, he was ready to start urging the spring rain martial technique to replenish Han Jingjing's true qi and physical strength. This time, Lin Yi did not urge the first style of the spring rain martial technique, but he did not urge the second style either. Because he roughly judged the speed of the consumption of true qi in Han Jingjing's body, he urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique. Whether it was the first style or the third style, there was not much difference for Lin Yi. According to the description of the spring rain martial technique, the first style of the spring rain martial technique could transfer true qi to one person, the second style could transfer true qi to two people, the third style could transfer true qi to three people, and so on. Now, there was only Han Jingjing beside Lin Yi. Using the third style was equivalent to transferring 3 portions of true qi to Han Jingjing at the same time. However, even if it was the fifth style, the total amount of true qi in Lin Yi's body was fixed. So whether it was the first style, the second style, or the fifth style, it was just that the true qi in Lin Yi's body was divided into several portions. The amount transferred each time was different, but the final sum was the same. Although Lin Yi had not really urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique before, according to Lin Yi's guess, the speed of releasing true qi in the third style should be about the same as the speed at which Han Jingjing's physical strength was consumed. Sure enough, after Lin Yi urged the third style of the spring rain martial technique, Han Jingjing's physical strength and true qi were quickly replenished. At this moment, Lin Yi was surprised to find that he could actually see the amount of true qi left in Han Jingjing's body. Chapter 2401. When Lin Yi healed Wu Qintian, Pai Zhihai, and the others, he could directly feel the amount of qi in their bodies, but that was because the two of them were in direct contact. But now, he and Han Jingjing didn't have any contact. They were only connected through martial arts. So Lin Yi didn't know whether it was because the martial arts had this ability or because the martial arts connected the two of them. Lin Yi's golden finger worked again, but no matter what, this was a good thing for Lin Yi, because Lin Yi could see Han Jingjing's physical condition in real time. Han Jingjing's body kept absorbing the qi that Lin Yi sent over, and the spring rain arts kept circulating in Lin Yi's body, and as long as Lin Yi didn't stop, the qi would be continuously sent into Han Jingjing's body. But Lin Yi soon realized that the third form of spring rain wasn't enough to keep up with Han Jingjing's consumption. Although it looked like Lin Yi was constantly replenishing Han Jingjing's energy, the rate of replenishment wasn't enough to keep up with the consumption. It just looked like the consumption was much slower. Han Jingjing really felt a lot more relaxed, and the qi in her body seemed to be endless. She could also calm down when she condensed the Dan fire and didn't have to worry about her physical strength and qi running out at any time. It could be said that this time's pill concoction simulation was very successful. If it was according to the usual pill concoction progress, at this time there would be signs of physical exhaustion, and it wouldn't be as full as it was now. But while she was happy, Han Jingjing quickly realized a problem, and that was, although Lin Yi's qi was constantly being sent over, it couldn't keep up with the consumption, and the transfer was not as fast as the consumption. Lin Yi bro, can you speed up the qi transfer a little? Han Jingjing felt this, and quickly asked Lin Yi. Yes, Lin Yi said, and stopped the third form, and started the fourth form of spring rain. The amount of innate qi transmitted by the fourth form was obviously much more than that of the third form, and Han Jingjing's worries were solved. She then continued to refer to the data on the tablet for alchemy. Lin Yi did not expect that refining so many Dan would require so much physical strength and innate qi. If he were to refine higher-level Dan, how much innate qi and physical strength would he need? No wonder alchemists were so arrogant and did not easily refine pills for others. Refining a pill consumes a lot of true qi and physical strength. Although the alchemist's mantra is special and can naturally restore true qi and physical strength in a short period of time, it also varies from person to person. Han Jingjing was a special case. She could recover her innate qi and physical strength in a very short period of time, but this was also because her level was relatively low. If it was a heaven-stage alchemist refining a Tier 3 Dan, it would probably take a very long time to recover. And the more time passed, the more Lin Yi felt this way. Because very soon, all the innate qi in Lin Yi's body was transferred to Han Jingjing, and he directly became a powerless cultivator without innate qi. Although Han Jingjing's alchemy continued, the innate qi in her body was also consumed very quickly. Feeling that Lin Yi's innate qi was no longer continuously transmitted, Han Jingjing was slightly stunned, but she roughly calculated the remaining time on the tablet. Her physical strength and innate qi should be able to support until the end of the simulation alchemy. Finally, Han Jingjing's simulation alchemy ended, but even if it was a simulation alchemy, the amount of innate qi consumed was the same as the normal alchemy. In the end, Han Jingjing's body had less than 1/3 of the innate qi and physical strength left. Phew, it's finally over. Han Jingjing wiped the sweat on her forehead and then asked with some joy, Big brother Lin Yi, why did you stop transmitting innate qi halfway? All the innate qi in my body has been given to you. There's not a bit left. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Is that so? Han Jingjing nodded, but fortunately, there is enough innate qi. I still have some left in my body. If the two of us cooperate, we can refine multiple second-grade pills at once. That's true. Lin Yi said, Alright, if you want to refine a third-grade pill, how much innate qi do you need? If you only refine one, will the two of us have enough innate qi? It shouldn't be enough. Han Jingjing shook her head. When I was free, I also calculated that the innate qi needed to refine a third-grade pill is at least 5 times the innate qi needed to refine a second-grade pill. 5 times. Lin Yi sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that non-heaven-stage masters could not refine it because the consumption of innate qi was too huge. Lin Yi could only temporarily dispel this unrealistic idea. If refining a third-grade pill was equal to the sum of 2 people's innate qi, or slightly more than the sum of 2 people's innate qi, Lin Yi could accept it. After all, after Lin Yi's innate qi was used up, Han Jingjing still had a lot of innate qi in her body. Lin Yi could take advantage of Han Jingjing's innate qi consumption to quickly restore his innate qi with the art of dragon mastery, but this method could not be used continuously. Because Han Jingjing's innate qi could only last once, When Lin Yi's recovered innate qi was used up again, Han Jingjing would have no innate qi to support her, and the process would stop and fail. According to Han Jingjing, after refining a second-grade pill, she was a bit exhausted, which meant that her physical strength was basically only enough to refine one second-grade pill, and Lin Yi's innate qi and her own innate qi was only 3 times. Even if Lin Yi's innate qi was a bit more than Han Jingjing's, but the amount of innate qi a mid-stage peak Earth-class master and an early-stage Earth-class master had was not much different. After all, there would be a world of difference in the amount of essential qi after crossing a truly large level, but the difference between small levels would not be that great. So it was impossible to reach 5 times, unless there was someone like Lin Yi next to her to continue using Heavenly Rain to support Han Jingjing's pill refining. Lin Yi could not think of any other solution for now. Chapter 2402. It's fine, we'll talk about that later. Lin Yi laughed at himself after hearing Han Jingjing's words. He really was thinking too much. Han Jingjing couldn't even control a 3rd-level refinement fire right now. What use would it be even if she had enough qi? Yeah, but I'll try my best to simplify the 3rd-level refinement fire and see if I can change the intensity and temperature of the refinement fire. Han Jingjing said, "Let's recover our qi first, and then try to mass-produce 2nd-level pills. We'll see if it works." Lin Yi said. "All right." Han Jingjing nodded. Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were quite familiar with each other now, and he didn't hold back. He held Han Jingjing's hand and checked her pulse, activating the 2nd stage of the art of dragon mastery to replenish her qi. On the 2nd floor of Lin Yi's villa, Meng Yao and Yushu were lying on the bed, discussing Lin Yi and Xin Yan's future plans. What did Xin Yan mean by leaving today? Meng Yao couldn't understand why Xin Yan would reject Lin Yi. Wasn't she close with Lin Yi? Meng Yao nudged Shu with her foot. "Hey, aren't you Almighty Shu? Tell me what's going on." "Maybe Xin Yan's sis is playing hard to get?" Yushu said after some thought. "Playing hard to get? No way, right?" Meng Yao frowned, rejecting the suggestion. "Can't you come up with something constructive?" "Oh, then why aren't you with Shield Bro Yao Yao?" Yushu asked. "Because, hey, this is Xin Yan's problem. What does it have to do with me?" Meng Yao realized that she'd almost fallen for Yushu's trick again. Actually, Shu thinks that Xin Yan's sis is the same as Yao Yao's sis, shy, or maybe it's a little too sudden. Yushu said, "Those are the only reasons. Like Yao Yao, you like Shield Bro too, but didn't you drag it out until now?" Ahem. "Shu, can you not change the subject?" Meng Yao glared at her. "Alright, actually the simplest way is for Sister Yao Yao to give Sister Xin Yan a call. Wouldn't you know? It's better than us guessing here, right?" Yushu said. "That's a good idea." Meng Yao nodded. She picked up her phone and dialed Xin Yan's number. Ever since Xin Yan hung up the call with her mother, she'd been sitting on her bed with her phone in her hand. She didn't even want to read, and she didn't want to play with her tablet either. Her heart was heavy, and it was only when her phone rang that she jumped up. Xin Yan hesitated when she saw the caller ID. Should she pick it up or not? Meng Yao must be calling to ask about how he didn't respond to Lin Yi's confession, but how was he going to explain it? It was impossible for her to tell the truth. Xin Yan knew Lin Yi's personality. If she told the truth, it'd put too much pressure on Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi was studying pill making with Han Jingjing every day for Xiao Xiao, and the reason why he worked so hard to level up was also for Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao alone was enough to put a mountain of pressure on Lin Yi, and if she was added to the mix, would he even be able to breathe? The Ice Palace thing was still manageable. It didn't matter if Lin Yi could make the Ice Heart Jade Bone pill they needed or not. The Ice Palace would never become Lin Yi's enemy. But the Sky Elixir sect was different. If she told the truth, how would Lin Yi face it? Xin Yan didn't want Lin Yi to worry about these things. After some hesitation, Xin Yan pressed the call button and picked it up. "Yao Yao, Xin Yan, you don't like Lin Yi today?" Meng Yao didn't know what to say, so she decided to get straight to the point. Yao Yao, I have a fiancé, so I can't be with Lin Yi." Xin Yan gritted her teeth and hardened her heart. "Fiancé? You mean Kong Xiaolong?" Meng Yao knew about Xin Yan and House Kong, but from her point of view, House Kong was already a thing of the past. Even the hidden house pie, the Xiao family's backing, was now Lin Yi's follower. What else could Xinyan not agree to? Yeah, I have to follow my parents' orders, Xinyan said. So you're going to marry Xiaolong's? Meng Yao was a little confused by Xinyan's words. You don't look like someone that stubborn, do you? I don't want to put my parents in a difficult position, and I'm the one who agreed to this. Yao Yao, please don't force me. I'm begging you. Xinyan smiled bitterly. You? Meng Yao was stunned by Xinyan's words. She thought that Xinyan left because she was shy, but it seemed like that wasn't the case at all. Xinyan had other reasons that she couldn't talk about. Yao Yao, I told you Lin Yi and I are just friends, really? Xinyan's heart was bleeding when she said this. She was very sure of her feelings now. She liked Lin Yi, and she liked being with him. Just today, when Lin Yi confessed to her, Xinyan almost said yes. Even when she walked out of the villa, Xinyan still wanted to turn around and accept Lin Yi's confession. But the last phone call from her mother extinguished Wang Xinyan's heart. But I can tell that Lin Yi needs you when he's training. Meng Yao wasn't willing to give up. She didn't believe that Xinyan didn't like Lin Yi. Meng Yao's intuition as a woman allowed her to sense Xinyan's feelings most of the time, but she didn't know why Xinyan wouldn't admit it. I won't get married while I'm in university. Xinyan hesitated. Isn't it good for me and Lin Yi to be good friends during this time? Good friends? Meng Yao smiled bitterly and said helplessly, then I'll ask you one last time. Do you like Lin Yi? My phone's out of battery. Xinyan quickly hung up and turned off her phone. She couldn't say something she didn't want to say, not even if she wanted to. Say that she didn't like Lin Yi? That would be lying to herself, and so Xinyan chose to avoid it. Meng Yao held the phone in her hand, speechless. She didn't expect Xinyan to say this at the end. This result meant that there was no result. She asked for nothing. Chapter 2403. Yao Yao sis. I think Xi and Yen sis has her own difficulties. Is she being forced to marry by her family? I don't think so. After all, the Xiao family is a thing of the past. Their support is Lin Yi's men. What's there for her to worry about? Meng Yao shook her head and denied Yushu's opinion. I don't know. Maybe she's a conservative girl. She doesn't want to break the promise after agreeing to the marriage. Yushu thought about it and couldn't think of another answer. Maybe. Meng Yao sighed. If that's the case, Lin Yi will be very disappointed. It's okay. We can continue with the beauty-chasing plan. Yushu didn't care. As long as we help, we should be able to change her mind. I hope so. Meng Yao nodded and didn't say anything else. The two of them started watching a movie on the tablet. This was how they spent their time when Lin Yi wasn't home. Even the restless Shu had been cooped up at home, afraid of causing trouble for Lin Yi. She didn't dare go out casually, so Meng Yao didn't reprimand her for going to the casino to vent her frustrations. If it was before, she would have taught her a lesson. Winning money at the casino was just looking for trouble. It wasn't like her family didn't have money. Although it was wrong of the casino not to pay up, if it wasn't for Lin Yi, she wouldn't be able to get the money back. She might even be dragged out of the casino by the security guards. Meng Yao, on the other hand, felt quite liberated at the thought this gamble bro was a bully after all. He'd been acting all high and mighty before Lin Yi had even arrived, acting as if victory was already in his grasp. What could Lin Yi do if he didn't give him that much money? But after Lin Yi came, didn't gambling bro obediently take out the money? It could be foreseen that those who lost money in the casino would have nowhere to seek redress for their grievances, and those who were lucky enough to win money. Yet he was not honored. How sorrowful was that? Meng Yao looked at Shu, who was quietly watching the movie. She realized that she couldn't understand Shu anymore. Before Lin Yi came to the villa, Shu was also this kind of silly, carefree personality. But at that time, Lin Yi didn't understand her. Meng Yao felt that this was most likely Shu's personality. But as time went on, Meng Yao realized that this wasn't the case. Shu wasn't really heartless. Most of the time, it was just an act. What was Shu trying to hide under this disguise? Meng Yao was surprised sometimes. Logically speaking, she should be the one who understood Shu the most, but in many situations, she realized that she only knew one side of Shu. At this moment, Lin Yi was still in Han Jingjing's villa, completely focused on recovering the physical strength and true qi that he had lost. Finally, after Lin Yi and Han Jingjing's physical strength recovered to their peak, Lin Yi decided to try concocting pills with Han Jingjing again. Let's start concocting 3 meridian unblocking pills now. Is that okay? Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing and asked. After all, the two had just recovered their physical strength, and he wasn't sure if Han Jingjing could handle it. No problem. Lin Yi bro has already recovered Jingjing's physical strength and true qi. If Jingjing still can't concoct pills, then Jingjing is a big idiot. She's not worth Lin Yi bro's investment. Han Jingjing nodded. Huh? Okay then. Han Jingjing's words made Lin Yi a little embarrassed. Han Jingjing was really professional, and Lin Yi admired and liked her. This little ass was really a lucky star that the heavens had sent to him. Many difficult problems were easily solved by her here. Yes, yes. Han Jingjing nodded heavily. Jingjing is ready. This time, with Lin Yi bro's help, I'm very confident that we can succeed. Lin Yi was even more embarrassed. Every time Han Jingjing concocted pills, she would give the credit to Lin Yi. She was never greedy, and this made Lin Yi feel like he was cheating an underage girl. But Han Jingjing was clearly an adult. It was just a little cute. Han Jingjing quickly prepared 3 portions of meridian unblocking pills ingredients and put them in the cauldron. Then, she quickly flipped through the tablet, looking for the scientific formula that she had recorded before. When Han Jingjing flipped to a page, she stopped and looked at it for a while. Then, she started to condense the fire, preparing to concoct the pills. And at this time, Lin Yi also started to circulate the Heavenly Spring Rain Martial Technique, preparing to activate the Heavenly Spring Rain Martial Technique. Not long after, Han Jingjing started to concoct the pills. And this time, Han Jingjing was clearly more focused than before. She didn't look at Lin Yi anymore. Her eyes were fixed on the time on her tablet, and the fire and temperature of the fire in her hands also changed according to the time. When Han Jingjing used up a portion of her physical strength and true qi, Lin Yi started to activate the 3rd form of the Heavenly Spring Rain and started to transfer true qi to Han Jingjing. At the beginning, Lin Yi only needed to activate the 3rd form. Later on, he would activate the 4th or 5th form to quickly recover Han Jingjing's true qi and physical strength. Han Jingjing also felt Lin Yi's true qi transfer over, but her expression only changed slightly. She continued to concentrate on concocting pills. Time flew, and it was nighttime in the blink of an eye. The two didn't know that they were both focused on concocting pills. Meng Yao and Yushu watched 2 movies and came downstairs to see that Lin Yi wasn't back yet. Lin Yi isn't back yet? Looks like we'll have to settle dinner ourselves, Meng Yao said as she looked at the empty living room. Oh, maybe we should go out and get some? Eating instant noodles every day isn't nutritious, Yushu said as she looked at the time on her phone. There should be a lot of good food around here that we didn't see before. I'll go around and see if there's any delivery. Then let's go eat together? No need. It's just the 2 of us. It's so troublesome, Meng Yao said. It's fine. Shu should go. If Shield Bro doesn't have anything to eat when he comes back tonight, he can at least eat some of Yao Yao's leftovers. Then we can have an indirect kiss, Yushu said. Go, go, go. You talk too much. Meng Yao frowned and kicked Yushu out of the house, not letting her continue. Yushu walked out of the villa with a smile on her face. Shield Bro's car's still here? Why isn't he home? Meng Yao heard Yushu's words and came out to take a look. As expected, Lin Yi's jeep was still parked at the door, but Lin Yi and Qin Shi were nowhere to be seen. Chapter 2404. Lin Yi's out again. Meng Yao was puzzled as she prepared to make a call. Don't call yet. Yushu stopped Meng Yao suddenly. The car's at home, so Shield Bro must be nearby. If he's not at home, then he must be at Han Jingjing's. Maybe they're making pills. Let's not disturb him. Meng Yao nodded, surprised. She had to admit that Shu was quite good at analyzing things, figuring out Lin Yi's whereabouts from small details. I'm going to buy some food. Yushu's eyes flashed with worry, but it was gone in a flash. Then I'll go with you? Meng Yao was already out of the villa, so it didn't matter if she went with Yushu.
Don't.
Yushu said subconsciously, startled. Meng Yao looked at Yushu, confused. Ah. What I meant was that Yao Yao should stay at home and wait for Shield Bro. He'll think that we've been kidnapped when he comes back and sees that we're gone, and his car's gone. Yushu explained. Oh, that's true. I'll wait for Lin Yi then. Meng Yao nodded. Yushu breathed out in relief as she got into the car and drove Lin Yi's jeep out of Meng Yao's sight. Meng Yao watched the car leave, frowning as she stood in front of the villa for a long time, thinking about something. She shook her head after a while and walked into the villa. In a small tea house near the university town, a girl was sitting opposite a mysterious old man. The girl was trying her best to stay calm, but there was a hint of nervousness in her eyes. What's going on? Why isn't he dead yet? The old man frowned. Didn't I tell you to poison him? Why is he still fine? He's even talking to the hidden house Zhao? The girl hesitated. He's a doctor and a refiner as well. He was the one who solved the poisoning incident in Songshan's first school. He even tasted the poison himself. In other words, this poison has no effect on him. Or he has already solved it himself. The old man's expression softened a little after listening, then he nodded and said, He didn't suspect you? I don't think so. If he's suspicious, he probably suspects that there's something wrong with the tea leaves. Perhaps there are pesticides on them that haven't been washed clean? The girl said carefully. I understand. The old man nodded noncommittally and said, I expected this situation as well. It's just a test. Using poison to kill is easier, but the others are more troublesome. Oh, then why don't we not kill them? They're quite hard to kill. If we don't kill them properly and get exposed, it won't be fun, right? The girl suggested. What? You can't bear to? The old man's eyes lit up as he looked at the young girl in front of him. How? How is that possible? The girl shook her head innocently. I'm just afraid that I can't kill him. He just exposed himself. You know, he's very powerful. Don't forget who you are. The old man coldly snorted and threatened. Your life and death is up to me. It's also in my hands. I'm sure you know the consequences of not having the antidote. It's death. I know. The girl nodded silently. Forget it. Since he's so powerful, then we'll use another trick. The old man said, This is a bottle of sleeping pills blended with benzoin and an antidote. Put it in the tea, and it'll make him sleep soundly. It's colorless and odorless, so he shouldn't be able to detect it. You'll be fine after taking the antidote. Otherwise, you'll also fall asleep. What's the use of this? The girl asked curiously. Of course it's useful. After he falls asleep, stab him to death with a knife. The old man said lightly, He's an inner force cultivator. When he's asleep, he doesn't have qi to protect his body. One stab, and he'll die. The girl didn't expect the old man to come up with such a method. Is there a problem? The old man didn't give the girl time to answer. He asked directly. No. The girl smiled bitterly. She took the sleeping pills from the old man and carefully put them in her pocket. All right, I'll wait for the good news. The old man stood up and left the tea house first. As for the young lady, she sighed with a responsible look in her eyes. She turned around and waved at the waiter. Waiter, Lin Yi and Han Jingjing finally finished refining the pills. It could be said that the entire process was very successful. At least, it seemed to be very successful. Han Jingjing strictly followed her formula, and the cauldron didn't show any strange phenomena. In the end, the cauldron emitted waves of fragrance, which meant that the herbs in the cauldron were about to become pills. Phew! Han Jingjing heaved a sigh of relief. It's a success. But Jingjing is a little nervous. I wonder how many meridian unblocking pills I can make? As long as I can make more than 3 pills, it's a victory. Lin Yi was more calm. After all, if Han Jingjing could make more pills than she needed, it was a success. She was much better than other alchemists. And Brother Lin, he always comforts Jingjing. Han Jingjing carefully opened the cauldron and subconsciously counted the number of pills inside. 1, 2, 3, 7? It's even more than the previous first-grade pills? Han Jingjing couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Her highest record was double the number of pills. This time, she actually made more than double the number of pills. Moreover, they were second-grade pills. How could she not be surprised? Haha, congratulations, Jingjing. Looks like you're getting more and more proficient at it. Although Lin Yi didn't appear too excited, he was actually very happy. Han Jingjing's attainments in alchemy were amazing, which meant that Lin Yi was amazing. It's not that Jingjing is getting better at it. It's that Brother Lin Yi is helping me. Otherwise, Jingjing wouldn't be able to do it. Not only would I fail, I wouldn't be able to make 7 pills out of 3 sets of ingredients, Han Jingjing said. That's right. Let's find some time to make the lesser qi gathering pill. Hopefully, with these 5 sets of ingredients, we can create another miracle and make 12 pills, Lin Yi said. Okay. Han Jingjing nodded. Let's recover our qi and stamina first. After that, I have to go back. Alchemy took up a lot of time. I haven't told Yao Yao and the others. Don't think that I'm missing, Lin Yi said. Han Jingjing listened to whatever Lin Yi said. It was as if she had no opinion of her own. Chapter 24:05. But after leaving Lin Yi, she seemed to still have her own insights. Even the master refiners wouldn't be able to grasp her methods. After recovering their strength with Han Jingjing, Lin Yi took the pill and 9 meridian opening pills back to his villa. He saw Meng Yao sitting on the sofa as soon as he entered the house. She didn't turn on the TV, nor did she turn on the lights in the living room. Lin Yi jumped when he saw her sitting on the sofa. Yao Yao, what are you doing? Lin Yi blinked. Ah. Lin Yi, you're back. Meng Yao snapped out of her stupor. She didn't even notice Lin Yi enter the house, and only now did she realize how dark the living room was. December's sky darkened faster and earlier. There was still light in the living room when Meng Yao sent Yushu away, but now it was completely dark. I'll go turn on the lights. I'll do it. Lin Yi was at the doorway, closer to the light switch. He turned it on. Where's Shu? Did she drive the car in the yard? And, Yao Yao, what were you doing? Ah. Shu went to buy food. Meng Yao hesitated, but seemed to have made up her mind. She turned to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, do you have time now? I want to talk to you while Shu's not here. Now? I do. Lin Yi nodded, a little confused. He walked over and sat on the sofa beside Meng Yao. What's wrong? Why do I feel like both of you are acting weird today? Lin Yi thought that Meng Yao was going to talk to him about Wang Xinyan, but Wang Xinyan's matters didn't need to be hidden from Shu, so Lin Yi found it strange. You feel that something's wrong with Shu too? Meng Yao was happy to hear Lin Yi's words. If that's the case, I don't have to explain. I feel that Shu's acting weird too, as if she's hiding something from us. Ah. You mean Shu? Didn't you ask her? Lin Yi realized that Meng Yao was talking about Shu's problem. He sighed and said, it was pretty normal before. I felt like I just went out for a walk. That's a problem. Yeah, I think so too, Meng Yao said. I've asked her a couple of times today, but she's always absent-minded. I've asked her what's wrong, but she won't tell me. I'm a little worried, but I don't know what to do. Then, what do you want to do? Lin Yi asked, finding Yushu's behavior rather strange today. Especially when she was pouring tea, he had no idea what she was going to do. I don't know. Meng Yao shook her head. She wanted to go out to buy food, and I wanted to go with her, but she didn't agree. It's like she's got something on her mind, and she's afraid that I'll ask. Maybe you could help me ask? Me? Lin Yi pointed at himself in surprise. Yup, little Shu treats you very well. She'll listen to you, Meng Yao said. Plus, she likes you. After listening to Meng Yao's words, Lin Yi fell silent. Lin Yi didn't object to what Meng Yao said. Yushu did listen to him, and Yushu would play tricks on everyone except himself. Sometimes, she would even play tricks on Mengyao. But this didn't mean that Yushu could tell him what was on her mind. Lin Yi had long felt that there was something deeper under Yushu's crazy appearance. She pretended to be a happy little girl, but some things were just too much. I'll try, Lin Yi said. I'll find a chance to ask her these 2 days. Yup, thanks. Mengyao said. I'm worried about her like this. No need to thank me. I'm worried too. She's not just your friend. Lin Yi waved his hand. She doesn't see me as a part of this family? Then you should thank me too. Mengyao's mood improved after hearing Lin Yi's promise. I wanted to thank you. Right, did you ask Xinyan? Lin Yi asked. I did. Mengyao was so worried about Shu that she would have forgotten about it if Lin Yi didn't bring it up. I called Xinyan just now, she said. She only sees you as a good friend, and she has a fiancé. Lin Yi didn't know what to say, so he quickly said, I called Xinyan just now, and she said, she only sees you as a good friend, and she has a fiancé. Fiancé? Kong Xiaolong? Lin Yi had always known about it, but he didn't think much of it. House Kong had become yesterday's flower, and there was nothing they could do about it. Dr. Kang's medical company was also on its last legs. This small family was basically on the decline. Why would Xinyan still take this engagement seriously? Yup, that's what she said. She said that it was her parents who decided it. She didn't want to put them in a difficult position, and she agreed to it. Mengyao said. I see. Lin Yi frowned. He felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't put his finger on it. Theoretically speaking, Wang Xinyan and Xiaolong's relationship wasn't very harmonious. Otherwise, if the two had really become a couple, Wang Xinyan's personality wouldn't allow her to do so many ambiguous things with him. Even if she didn't break off their relationship, she wouldn't do it again and again. But with their current relationship, it was only a matter of time before Lin Yi and Xinyan became couple. Xinyan didn't give a clear answer, but her actions had more or less revealed some problems. But Wang Xinyan refused, and the reason she gave him was so ridiculous, but it made sense at the same time. Marriage, it was a good reason, but Lin Yi felt that it was a little strange. That's all she said, and she told me not to force her. Mengyao smiled bitterly. I'm sorry, I couldn't complete the mission you entrusted to me. Forget it, it's nothing. Let's focus on Shu's problem first. Lin Yi waved his hand. He wondered if Xinyan had some difficulties. Or was there something she was hiding? But Mengyao probably wouldn't be able to get an answer out of her, so it was up to Lin Yi to figure it out himself. With that, Lin Yi stood up and walked to the place where Shu knocked over the teacup. He bent down and sniffed the ground, frowning as if he was in deep thought. But after a while, Lin Yi stood up. Before Mengyao could ask, Lin Yi spoke first. Don't talk about it. Shu might be back. Lin Yi heard the familiar sound of a car and knew that Shu was back. Okay, let's not talk about it later. Mengyao stood up and followed Lin Yi out of the villa. Chapter 2406. Yushu had just parked the car when she saw Lin Yi and Mengyao walking out of the villa together. She jumped. Shield bro, you're back. You and Yao couldn't wait? No, I just came back. Lin Yi looked at the panicking Shu, and his heart skipped a beat. Shu was indeed acting a little strange today. Let's eat together then, I bought it all. Eat it while it's hot, it'll be bad if it gets cold. Yushu said as she got out of the car. Sure. Lin Yi nodded. He walked into the villa's dining room with Mengyao and Yushu. Mengyao was a little surprised when she opened the food Yushu had bought. Shu, you went to a tea restaurant? Yeah. I went to a Hong Kong tea restaurant and bought some snacks and food for a change. Yushu said. That's good. It's been a while since I've eaten these things. Mengyao nodded. Before Lin Yi moved into the villa, she and Shu would go to restaurants, tea restaurants, and Western restaurants whenever Faubert had something to do. It had been a while since they had that kind of lifestyle. Yeah, that's why Shu bought it today. Shield bro, let's eat together? Shu's hungry. Yushu nodded. Okay. Lin Yi nodded. He got the utensils from the kitchen and sat at the dining table. The three of them started digging in. But Lin Yi frowned after the first bite of the teriyaki chicken rice Yushu bought. He was about to say something when Yushu asked, "Shield bro, how's the taste? Is it good?" "Oh, it's pretty good." Lin Yi wanted to say something, but decided against it in the end. He lowered his head and went back to eating. "That's good." Yushu nodded. Mengyao blinked curiously as she pondered over the strange conversation between the two. There wasn't anything wrong with the conversation, but Mengyao felt that something wasn't right. She couldn't put her finger on it, but she didn't know what it was. However, Lin Yi knew that something was amiss. This was because he had tasted a familiar taste from the chicken drumstick rice. Resting grass was exactly what Lin Yi lacked before he started cultivating the art of dragon mastery. It was a very rare medicine. Although Lin Yi had not personally tasted its taste, he had read about it many times from the information. Moreover, Lin Yi still remembered it vividly. He had almost gone mad because of the benzodiac grass, so he naturally could not forget the taste of the benzodiac grass. This time, Lin Yi suddenly tasted this kind of taste in the chicken drumstick rice, and he was a little confused. Although the benzodiac grass had the effect of calming the mind, it was only for the art of dragon mastery. If it were someone else, eating the benzodiac grass would be no different from taking sleeping pills. They would feel sleepy and fall asleep very quickly. There weren't too many side effects, but the person who took it would fall into a deep sleep. Even if there was an earthquake or thunder, they might not wake up. So, naturally, it was very strange for a medicine like this to be used in a tea house's chicken drumstick rice. Lin Yi knew that some nourishing restaurants would put important things in their food that could help with sleep, such as acanthopanax, schisandra, and jujube seeds. However, those were only supplementary things, and they wouldn't make the person fall asleep immediately. This benzodiac grass, on the other hand, was different. This thing was even more powerful than sleeping pills. If the restaurant put this thing in the food, wouldn't the customers fall asleep after eating? However, the reason why Lin Yi didn't ask was because he was suspicious of Shu. When Lin Yi was eating, Shu watched him eat. Although it could be understood that Shu wanted to know if the food she bought suited Lin Yi's taste, and in fact, Yushu did ask Lin Yi about it after the meal, but Lin Yi still felt that something was wrong. However, Lin Yi quickly finished the chicken drumstick rice in front of him and ate a lot of the side dishes that Yushu brought back. Mingyao's appetite was relatively small, and she was full after eating half of the big box of chicken drumstick rice. "Shield bro? Are you full? Why don't you eat Yaoraosis's too?" Yushu looked at the remaining half box of chicken drumstick rice and asked Lin Yi. "Shu." Mingyao frowned. "Let's eat then. I'm a little hungry anyway." Lin Yi nodded and didn't say anything else. He took the chicken drumstick rice in front of Mengyao and started eating. Mingyao's mouth opened in shock. Did she just kiss Lin Yi indirectly again? But this time, she didn't hate him as much as before. There was only a slight feeling of love, and it made her blush. The reason Lin Yi brought Mingyao's chicken drumstick rice over wasn't because he wanted to play some indirect kissing game, but because he wanted to see if there was any benzoin in it. If there wasn't, then it meant that there was something wrong with his chicken drumstick rice, and Yushu would be the first suspect. If there was, then Lin Yi didn't want Mengyao to eat too much of it. It wasn't a bad thing, but it wouldn't be fun if Mengyao woke up late for school tomorrow. As for the benzoin, Lin Yi didn't really care about it. It wouldn't affect him at all if he ate too much of it, and it would only help with the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi had been lacking this herb a long time ago, and now he had it. Lin Yi finished the chicken drumstick rice in 2 or 3 bites and stood up. "I'm going back to my room to practicing. You guys rest early too. So many things happened today, it's quite tiring." "Yep." Yawn. "Now that you mention it, I'm feeling a little sleepy too." Mengyao yawned, thinking that Lin Yi had infected her. Okay. But Lin Yi knew that Mengyao was sleepy because of the benzoin. It'd be weird if she wasn't sleepy. But Lin Yi noticed that Yushu wasn't doing anything wrong. At least, Lin Yi couldn't see any signs of tiredness in her eyes. Logically speaking, the benzoin should have taken effect already, but Lin Yi didn't say anything. He and Yao Yao had noticed Yushu's weird behavior a long time ago, and so they decided not to bring it up. They went straight to the bedroom. Yawn. Yushu yawned before turning to Meng Yao. Yao Yao, Shu's sleepy too. Let's go to bed. Okay? Meng Yao nodded and went upstairs with Yushu. Chapter 24:07. Meng Yao, however, wasn't as observant as Lin Yi. She didn't realize that Yushu wasn't sleepy at all. Lin Yi went back to his room and started channeling the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. But today, Lin Yi was paying extra attention to the movements in the villa. Shu was too weird today, especially the resting grass in her food. Lin Yi wanted to see what Shu was up to. After channeling the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, Lin Yi suddenly realized that his training efficiency was very high today. Although Lin Yi split a part of his attention to the movements in the villa, today's training was twice the result with half the effort. It was as if Xinyan was training beside him. The speed was so fast that Lin Yi was speechless. But Lin Yi understood after thinking about it. Before practicing the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, he needed the resting grass, but Lin Yi didn't use it and replaced it with something else, causing him to go berserk. After that, he recovered, but Lin Yi still didn't have the resting grass in his body. So now that he suddenly took the resting grass, it had the same effect as before. It allowed him to channel the second stage of the art of dragon mastery more efficiently. This was actually the herb he'd used when he first started using the second stage of the art of dragon mastery in order to reduce the side effects. But now that he was very familiar with it, the resting grass was twice the result with half the effort. Of course, this was only the first time he used it. The art of dragon mastery didn't mention that the resting grass could help with training. It was only mentioned once. After that, the effects of the resting grass were even more out of Lin Yi's expectations. Lin Yi had just broken through to Earth class mid-phase peak. Logically speaking, stabilizing his strength and breaking through to Earth class mid-phase peak should take a long time. At least, that was the case before. From Earth class mid-phase peak to Earth class mid-phase peak was a lot faster with the help of Xinyan's fragrance. But Lin Yi didn't think that the resting grass would allow him to break through from Earth class mid-phase peak to Earth class late-phase peak. Right now, he was only one step away from Earth class late phase. Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry. It didn't matter who planted the resting grass, it indirectly helped Lin Yi, stabilizing Lin Yi's training. This feels so good. Lin Yi let out a long sigh of relief. This training speed was almost the same as riding a helicopter. But Lin Yi knew that this kind of opportunity was hard to come by. If he used the resting grass in the future, it wouldn't have this effect anymore. After all, this was a special case. Looking at the time, it was already midnight. He didn't think that time would pass so quickly. Lin Yi sensed the situation in the villa's living room. It was still quiet, there was no movement. But the silence was short. After a while, Lin Yi heard clear footsteps. It was Shu's footsteps. Lin Yi had lived in the villa for a long time, and he could hear Shu's and Yao Yao's footsteps very clearly. Shu was tiptoeing, but Lin Yi could still hear it clearly in the quiet night, and he was using his perception in the jade space. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before closing his eyes and lying on the bed quietly. His breathing was even as he snored, as if he was in a deep sleep. After a while, Lin Yi's door was opened softly. In the villa, Lin Yi didn't have the habit of locking the door. From the jade space, Lin Yi could see that it was Shu. This didn't surprise Lin Yi, but he was a little surprised Yushu's face was no longer cute and playful. Instead, it was replaced with worry and nervousness. She stood at the door, thinking about something. After thinking for a long time, she sighed softly and walked into Lin Yi's room. In Yushu's hand, there was a sharp knife. Under the moonlight, it shined with a green light. Yushu quietly came to Lin Yi's side and looked at the sleeping Lin Yi. Her eyes flashed with a complicated expression, as if she was going through the last struggle in her heart. Although Lin Yi was still pretending to be asleep, he was actually paying attention to Yushu's every move. When he saw Yushu walking over with a sharp knife in her hand, he couldn't help but be shocked. Of course, Lin Yi wasn't afraid of the knife in Yushu's hand. He was just shocked. What was Yushu going to do with a knife? In fact, Lin Yi could roughly guess what was going on. Was Shu trying to kill him? This was probably the only explanation. Otherwise, why would Yushu appear in his room with a knife at this time? Especially in the chicken drumstick rice from before, there was the existence of the sleeping medicine benzoin. Yushu took a deep breath and silently raised the knife in her hand. Her heart was beating fast, and her breathing was rapid. The hand holding the knife was shaking nonstop. One could see how intense the struggle in her heart was. Phew! Yushu finally couldn't endure the pain in her heart anymore. She put down the knife in her hand and breathed heavily. She stared at the sleeping Lin Yi in a daze. After a long time, Yushu calmed down and slowly raised the knife again, aiming at Lin Yi's chest. At this time, Lin Yi finally confirmed that Shu wanted to kill him. But what reason did she have? Lin Yi couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. If it was said that Shu liked him, then Lin Yi would believe it. But if it was said that Shu could assassinate him, Lin Yi really didn't believe it. All along, Yushu's behavior and their relationship had determined that this would never happen. But something that shouldn't have happened, just like that? Lin Yi remembered the smell on the floor. It was similar to the smell of poison. Although he wiped it clean, there was still some residue. However, Lin Yi wasn't very sure, and he couldn't lick the floor. But at this moment, Lin Yi also guessed that the tea was probably poisoned by Shu. Otherwise, Shu wouldn't have acted so strangely. After pouring the tea for him, she snatched it away, and when Mengyao wanted to drink, she reached out and knocked it away. This proved that Shu was actually very conflicted in her heart, and it matched the current situation. Shu's heart must be conflicted. She must have had her own reasons for doing this. Chapter 2408. Lin Yi was confused, but he couldn't think of a good reason. Sigh. Shu seemed to be a little discouraged and sighed softly. She put down the knife and looked at Lin Yi with a layer of mist in her eyes. Her big watery eyes were filled with sadness, a kind of sadness that she had no choice but to do. Lin Yi didn't move. He wanted to see what Shu was going to do. With his strength, he could easily dodge the knife after it landed. Besides, Lin Yi had the second stage of the art of dragon mastery. Even if his heart was pierced, it wouldn't be a big problem as long as he healed in time. Shield bro. Shu still can't do it. Yushu mumbled to herself and shook her head. Shu likes you. Yao Yao likes you too. If you die, Shu will be sad. Yao Yao will be sad too. And Xiao Xiao and Yun Yun sis, they will be sad too. Shu can't bear to see them sad, and I don't want to be sad myself, so Shu should die. But I don't know if I can drag. Sigh. Lin Yi was a little surprised. Yushu mumbled to herself for a while. How did it end up with her dying? As for who Yun Yun sis was, Lin Yi didn't have the time to think about it. Yushu's voice was very soft, so Lin Yi guessed that she was talking about Yan Yan sis or Wang Xinyan. Shield bro, Shu loves you. Just when Lin Yi was wondering, Yushu suddenly lowered her body and sealed Lin Yi's mouth with her lips. She quickly pulled away, as if she was afraid of waking Lin Yi up. Yushu's sudden confession and bold action shocked Lin Yi. Although he also felt that Shu seemed to like him, he had never confessed so formally before. He even used the word love instead of like. Alright, although Shu wants to be a mistress for the rest of her life, Shu's not as lucky as Xiao Xiao's. After Shu dies, she'll appear in Shield Bro's dreams and have sex with Shield Bro in her dreams. Yushu continued talking to herself. Lin Yi heard Yushu's words. Lin Yi almost couldn't hold back his laughter. This little Shu, just a moment ago she was so sad, and the next moment she said such a funny thing. It really made Lin Yi speechless. Yushu stared blankly at Lin Yi for a moment before turning around as if she'd made up her mind. She walked towards the door of Lin Yi's room. Her footsteps were heavy and determined, and her petite figure made one's heart ache. Shu. Lin Yi couldn't help but open his eyes and call out to her. Ah. Yushu was shocked. She didn't think that Lin Yi would wake up at this time. Her body froze subconsciously, and the knife in her hand fell to the ground uncontrollably. It made a crisp sound in the quiet night. It was extremely ear-piercing. Shoo, what are you doing? Lin Yi tried to make his voice sound calm, as if he had just woken up. Not sleeping in the middle of the night? What are you doing in my room? What's that on the ground? A knife? Are you trying to kill me? Lin Yi's tone was teasing, as if he was joking, but Yushu's heart jumped when she heard it. Yeah, what am I doing? Oh, I know. Shu is sleepwalking. I was dreaming just now, and I dreamt that there's a monster in Shield Bro's room, so I came to help Shield Bro fight the monster. Sleepwalking? You have this kind of habit? Lin Yi listened to Yushu's poor attempt at covering it up. He didn't expose her immediately, but asked instead. Oh, yeah, Shu seems to have some problem with her body since she was young. Shield Bro, can you take a look at me? Aren't you a miracle doctor? Yushu turned around and extended her hand to Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked at her expectant gaze, and it didn't seem to be fake. He paused for a moment. This wasn't the first time Shu asked him to check her body. There were a few times before, but Lin Yi didn't think much of it. But Shu's strange fever made Lin Yi suspicious. Although Shu was cured after taking some special medicine and said that it was a problem since she was young, Lin Yi was still puzzled. He had never seen a problem like this before. Okay. Lin Yi didn't reject this time. He grabbed Yushu's hand and checked her pulse, carefully checking it. But it didn't take long for the results to come out. Yushu's body was very healthy, and there weren't any problems at all. The only thing he could say was that she had too much energy, or that she had too much energy. Shu, you are not sick. Lin Yi said, and you should be sleeping well. Theoretically speaking, you shouldn't sleepwalk. Also, there's a medicine called benzoin in the chicken drumstick rice that we ate at night. This medicine has the effect of calming the mind. After taking it, not to mention sleepwalking, you might not even have time to go to the toilet. It's not impossible for you to wet your bed. Ah, what benzoin? Yushu was shocked, and a flash of panic appeared in her eyes. She didn't think that Lin Yi could even tell that there was benzoin in the chicken rice. You don't know? Lin Yi asked. I don't know anything. Yushu gritted her teeth, and didn't admit it. Shu, are you suspecting that you're sick? Lin Yi didn't dwell on the question. Maybe. Yushu shook her head. Shield Bro, did you just wake up? Did I wake you up? Yeah. Lin Yi hesitated, but he didn't expose Yushu. He only asked, Shu, you seem to have something on your mind? Did you run into some trouble? It's nothing, I can deal with it myself. It's just that I'm a little nervous these days. Yushu said. Okay. It was obvious that she was hiding something. She didn't want to say it, and Lin Yi didn't want to force her. Shu was that kind of person. If she wanted to say it, you didn't need to ask her. If she didn't want to say it, it was useless no matter how you asked. Plus, Lin Yi could tell that Yushu had her own difficulties, and she didn't have any bad intentions towards him. If she really had bad intentions, she wouldn't have spilled the teacup the first time they drank tea, and the second time in his bedroom, she wouldn't have stabbed him with a knife. Perhaps she was forced into a corner, or perhaps she was threatened. Lin Yi could only speculate Lin Yi didn't force her, because he knew that Yushu's trouble wasn't small. Chapter 24:09. Lin Yi knew what kind of person she was. In the past, whenever she was in trouble, the first person she thought of was him. But this time she didn't. She wanted to solve it on her own. This meant that this problem was either something she could solve, or he couldn't solve it. Shu was an extremely smart person. Although she looked dumb every day, Lin Yi knew that it was just a facade. After the facade was torn apart, she wasn't dumb at all. But since Yushu didn't say anything, it meant that the problem she was in was troublesome enough that even Lin Yi couldn't solve it. Or rather, she didn't want him to take the risk. But since Yushu said that she could solve it herself, Lin Yi didn't ask anymore. It's late, Shu. Go to sleep. You still have school tomorrow, Lin Yi said. Okay. Yushu picked up the knife on the ground and walked out of Lin Yi's room quietly. But when she was about to leave, she stopped and turned around hesitantly. Can I not tell Yao Yao? HM? Lin Yi heard Yushu's question and smiled bitterly. It seemed like she knew everything, but still Lin Yi nodded. Okay. The two didn't say it out loud, but they were both smart people. They knew what the other meant. Yushu smiled and left the room. Lin Yi, on the other hand, couldn't fall asleep after Yushu left. He didn't even have the mood to train anymore. He tossed and turned on his bed, thinking about what happened today. The next day, the sun rose, but Shu and Yao Yao didn't wake up on time. It was also because of the benzoa. Lin Yi didn't think too much about it, but Shu was probably pretending to be asleep. She didn't want Yao Yao to know something about her. As expected, it was almost 8. Meng Yao and Yushu rushed down the stairs in a daze. Yushu shouted, we're late. Why did you oversleep? Lin Yi looked at Yushu's eyes, stunned. He was a doctor, and it was only natural that he could tell that Yushu had overslept and had only just woken up. She hadn't slept at all last night and had only overslept when she got home. It was different from Meng Yao, who'd taken the benzoin. What puzzled Lin Yi, however, was that Yushu could actually fall asleep. So many things had happened yesterday. I can't even sleep, but she can? Could it be that yesterday's incident was really over? Could she really handle it? However, no matter what, Xiao Shu had returned to her old self. She was no longer as depressed as before. Perhaps she had thought through some things. Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief, but at the same time, he was a little worried. You're up? I've got breakfast ready. Have some. Hurry up and go to school. Lin Yi said, Han Jingjing came just now. I let her go first and didn't wait for you. Today. Lin Yi, Meng Yao, and Yushu were definitely late, but the teachers wouldn't punish them too harshly if they were late for classes. Only Lin Yi's minor was different. Boss Bai's method was very special, but it didn't work on Lin Yi. Lin Yi was someone who passed his special exam, and he could be late or ask for leave anytime he wanted. He wasn't restricted by the rules, and that was why Lin Yi let Han Jingjing go first. Meng Yao and Yushu shouldn't be a problem, either. After all, the other majors weren't as strict as Boss Bai. Wow, it smells so good. Shu came to the kitchen and saw the poached eggs and lean meat porridge that Lin Yi had prepared. Her mouth watered. Meng Yao noticed that Yushu seemed to have returned to her usual liveliness, and so she didn't ask about what happened yesterday. He didn't ask anymore. He guessed that she might be tired or had caught a cold. After breakfast, the three of them went to school. Lin Yi watched as Meng Yao and Yushu went to the economics department, and he walked into the biology building. But when he walked into the class, Lin Yi was a little nervous. It wasn't because Boss Bai was a teacher, but because Lin Yi didn't know how to face Wang Xinyan, who had failed his confession yesterday. He didn't know if Wang Xinyan would reject and distance herself from him because of this. If that was the case, then it wouldn't be worth it. Lin Yi took a deep breath and walked into the classroom. But what surprised Lin Yi was that Boss Bai wasn't in the classroom. Although the students were all studying, Boss Bai really didn't come. Although Lin Yi wasn't afraid of Boss Bai finding fault, it was best if he wasn't late. Lin Yi glanced at the classroom window and saw that Wang Xinyan was still sitting in her original seat, and behind her was Han Jingjing. At least on the surface, there didn't seem to be anything wrong. She was still sitting in the middle of the row, not at the side. Taking over Lin Yi's seat meant that she was indirectly rejecting Lin Yi from sitting next to her. But Wang Xinyan didn't do that, and this made Lin Yi feel relieved. If Wang Xinyan rejected Lin Yi, it would be a problem for Lin Yi's future training. So this time, Lin Yi walked to Wang Xinyan's side naturally and sat right next to her. Wang Xinyan was reading her book as usual, as if she didn't care at all about Lin Yi sitting there. But Lin Yi could see from the slight movement of her eyelashes that she was actually quite nervous. Xinyan, thank you for yesterday. Lin Yi tried to find something to talk about. In fact, Lin Yi had already thanked Wang Xinyan yesterday. It's nothing. We're good friends. Wang Xinyan's voice was obviously nervous. All right, class is about to start. Let's not talk anymore. Huh, all right then. Let's go to class then, Lin Yi said with a chuckle. He could tell that Xinyan was like a frightened little bird, and he didn't want to provoke her any further. It was for the best that everyone was fine with each other in this situation. But Lin Yi didn't know what Wang Xinyan's real concern was. Was it because of the Xiao family, or the Kong family? Or was it because of some other reason? Lin Yi didn't really believe that Wang Xinyan didn't like him. After all, their relationship had exceeded that of normal classmates and was even better than good friends. If they were of the same sex, they could be described as gay friends, but if they were of the opposite sex, it was more than just friendship. However, what happened next made him feel even more incredulous. Was it premeditated by Wang Xinyan, or was it a coincidence? Because at that moment, Boss Bai walked into the classroom, and behind him was House Kang's Kong Xiaolong. Chapter 24:10. But very quickly, Lin Yi understood that this most likely had nothing to do with Xinyan, because when Xinyan saw Xiaolong, her expression was the same as if she saw something unbelievable. Something was delayed today, because I had to receive a student, Boss Bai said slowly. Boss Bai's voice sounded slowly. Kong Xiaolong is also from our department. He's everyone's senior, and he's currently a PhD student under my tutelage. He's currently writing his PhD thesis, and he came to me today saying that he's looking for inspiration in class. So in the future, Kong Xiaolong will be part of our class. Boss Bai had no reason to reject Xiaolong's request. Although Xiaolong wasn't the most outstanding student under him, he was a very hardworking student, following Boss Bai all the way from undergraduate to PhD. So when Xiaolong wanted to sit in, Boss Bai agreed, without hesitation. Hello everyone, I'm Xiaolong, your senior. If you have any problems with medicine in the future, you can come to me anytime. Xiaolong introduced himself generously. His eyes swept across the students and finally landed on Xinyan, who was sitting beside Lin Yi. Seeing Xinyan and Lin Yi together, Xiaolong felt a surge of anger. This was his woman and she was sitting with his enemy, Lin Yi. This was a huge insult to him. But Xiaolong was a very shrewd person, and he wouldn't get angry in a situation like this. He only stared at Xinyan. Xinyan could feel Xiaolong's fiery gaze on her. She felt uncomfortable. Xinyan didn't expect Xiaolong to suddenly appear in her class. She had just brought up the cancellation of the engagement with her family yesterday. Today, Xiaolong came chasing after her. Was he trying to show off his power? She wasn't worried that Xiaolong would catch her in the act if she was with Lin Yi. She was worried that Xiaolong would use the power of the Sky Elixir sect to harm Lin Yi. Then all his efforts would go down the drain. Xiaolong had caught her off guard. If she had known that Xiaolong would come, she wouldn't have sat with Lin Yi. But it was too late now. Xiaolong's gaze was filled with possession. How could Xinyan not feel it? Lin Yi, on the other hand, after a moment of shock, he calmed down. Xiaolong was here? This wasn't just a matter of coincidence, but why was House Kong so bold? Letting Xiaolong come here? House Kong was backed by the Hidden House Yu. Although Lin Yi couldn't do anything to the Hidden House Yu, the Hidden House Yu wouldn't dare to do anything to Lin Yi either. Especially after the Hidden House Summit, the Yu family didn't dare to act rashly. This could be seen from the fact that the Hidden Yu family suffered losses one after another, but they didn't dare to make a fart. Plus, Xiaolong had injured Elder Bai so badly that the news would have gotten out a long time ago. Xiaolong appearing here now was just too weird. Was he really here to chase after Xinyan? With Lin Yi's understanding of the Kangs, it was hard for him to believe this was real. Lin Yi didn't have much contact with Xiaolong. But from the way he did things, Lin Yi could tell that he was a sinister person. A person like that, coming to this mess when House Kong was in such a weak state, was something that Lin Yi couldn't believe. With that thought, Lin Yi raised his head and looked at Xiaolong faintly. His sharp gaze made Xiaolong's heart skip a beat. He didn't dare look at Lin Yi anymore. Kong Xiaolong was furious, but he didn't dare to look Lin Yi in the eye. Although the Kong family's confidence was extremely inflated, it was still under the Yu family's bluff. Kong Xiaoming was very cautious. Without any clear support, Xiaolong didn't dare to go against Lin Yi. But he wasn't afraid of Lin Yi. He didn't come here to go against Lin Yi. He just wanted to steal his fiancée from Lin Yi's hands and humiliate Lin Yi. After all, he was in the right. He was engaged to Xinyan, and they were in Boss Bai's class. He believed that Lin Yi wouldn't dare do anything to him. It was the rule. In fact, he'd been suppressed for too long. He had the mindset of a villain. Under Lin Yi's suppression, House Kong didn't have a chance to breathe. Ever since Lin Yi brought Kong Xiaobo and that bitch to Dr. Kang's birthday banquet, House Kong had been going downhill. Now that they could make a comeback, it would cheer them up. So, Xiaolong ignored Lin Yi's cold stare and walked to Coiling Tiger's seat. Today, Coiling Tiger sat by himself. His underlings, Yellow and Purple, sat behind him, purposely giving their seats to Xiaolong. After Xiaolong sat down, Boss Bai started his lecture. Lin Yi, on the other hand, didn't think much of him. Xinyan, on the other hand, was visibly uncomfortable. Her face was filled with worry. Xinyan, you actually don't want to marry Xiaolong, right? Lin Yi saw her uneasiness and asked. Ah. Xinyan jumped. She didn't expect Lin Yi to ask like that. It was hard for her to answer. Xinyan thought that she'd harden her heart and act like nothing happened when she faced Lin Yi. She'd lie to Lin Yi, say that she didn't like him, that she was engaged, and that they were just good friends. But when the words came to her mouth, they weren't as straightforward as they were with Meng Yao yesterday. She stuttered, not knowing what to say. She couldn't lie to Lin Yi. And so, Xinyan was in a difficult position. She hesitated for a long time before saying, Lin Yi, we're good friends, and I'm not afraid of a crooked shadow. Xiaolong may be my fiancé, but he can't cause trouble for me because of this. I won't allow him to restrict my freedom to make friends. Lin Yi didn't know if he should laugh or cry at Xinyan's nonsensical question, but this only served to further confuse Xinyan's thoughts. Logically speaking, Xinyan had a fiancé, and if her heart was really on her fiancé's side, she wouldn't be this close to Lin Yi, let alone sitting next to him at school. But if Xinyan didn't like Xiaolong, why would she marry him? Why would she say that she had a fiancé and emphasize that they were just friends? Let's go to class. It's been a while since you last came. You've fallen behind a lot, haven't you? These are my notes. Make a copy, Xinyan said calmly as she pushed her notes to Lin Yi. Chapter 24:11. All right, thanks. Lin Yi had no choice but to nod and stop talking about it. However, what Lin Yi was learning were some of Boss Bai's unique opinions in class, as well as some random notes that he mentioned occasionally, which gave Lin Yi a refreshing feeling. As for Wang Xinyan's notes, they were all rigid knowledge, but Lin Yi knew all of these things, so after flipping through a few pages, Lin Yi closed the notes. Right now, Lin Yi's main goal was to train. As for the knowledge of medicinal properties, Lin Yi didn't care too much about it. His medical skills were more than enough for daily treatment, and since Lin Yi couldn't become a refiner for the time being, he didn't have much interest in learning. Training was still Lin Yi's goal, so Lin Yi had to make use of this great opportunity to train hard. Seeing Lin Yi close his eyes, Wang Xinyan knew that Lin Yi was training. After a slight hesitation, she took off her jacket and moved towards Lin Yi, pretending to be careless. However, her trembling body betrayed her. Although Lin Yi had his eyes closed, he was still able to sense everything in the outside world, even the new ideas that Boss Bai had brought up. Wang Xinyan's actions calmed Lin Yi down, but at the same time, he was a bit puzzled. If Wang Xinyan was still the same as before, not ruling out helping him train in this kind of embarrassing way, then why did she bring up Xiaolong as her fiancé? Since he couldn't figure it out, Lin Yi could only give up and slowly observe. Don't try to guess what a girl was thinking. As expected, guessing would only add to his troubles. Boss Bai was used to Lin Yi closing his eyes in class, but since Lin Yi had passed his exam, it didn't matter even if he didn't come to class. He naturally wouldn't care. Xiaolong sat beside Yu Panhu. Although he felt honored that Kong Mingming had been accepted as the last disciple of the Sky Elixir Sect's fifth elder, and his status had been elevated a lot. But in front of Right Coiling Tiger, Xiaolong didn't go overboard. He was not an idiot. Although the Kong family seemed to be very powerful now, no matter what, the Kong family's foundation was too weak. The Yu family was an old hidden family, and an alchemy family. The Heavenly Elixir sect valued them very much. Naturally, it was not something that the current Kong family could compare with. Of course, if Kong Xiaoming really did become an elder of the Sky Elixir sect one day, Kong Xiaolong wouldn't have to lower himself to tiger right anymore. Brother Yu, nice to meet you for the first time. Please take care of me. Although the two of them had talked on the phone before, it was the first time they had met in person. They had only seen each other in photos. Hee, Brother Kong must be joking. It's Brother Kong who will take care of our house Yu in the future. Right, Coiling Tiger wasn't the head of the Yu family. At most, he would be an elder. But Xiaolong was different. Kong Mingming had left to become an elder of the Sky Elixir sect. He couldn't return to be the head of the Kong family. The head of the Kong family had to be Xiaolong. There was no one else, so Yupan who didn't have a high status. Take care of each other, Xiaolong laughed. Right, Brother Yu? I heard that Wang Xinyan and Lin Yi are very close. Yes, they are. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded. Brother Kong, I have to remind you that Wang Xinyan is your fiancé. Wang Xinyan is your fiancé, after all. It's not right for her to be with Lin Yi. Yes, Brother Yu. You know my family situation. In the past, our Kong family could only be considered as a low-class family. We only rose because of my brother Xiaoming. So, if I were to fight with Lin Yi, I wouldn't be his match. Xiaolong didn't hide it and told the truth after all. Lin Yi is a practitioner. If I were to fight with him, even if Xiaoming could get revenge, I'd be at a disadvantage. That's true. Right, Coiling Tiger nodded. I won't hide it from you. Lin Yi is a very strange kid. I've suffered a bit from him. If we were to compare strength, we wouldn't be his match. Unless a Sky class gets involved, we won't be his match. You know about the Hidden House Zhao, right? Their Earth class late phase peak elder Bai was crippled by Lin Yi in one move. With this kid's strength, I'm afraid even an early phase Sky class won't be his match. Hiss. Xiaolong sucked in a cold breath. His mind cleared up a lot. Even an early phase Sky class won't be his match? Thank God he didn't provoke him. Otherwise, he wouldn't even know how he died. But you don't have to worry. Right, Coiling Tiger waved his hand. Boss Bai, you and I know the rules of the class, and so does Lin Yi. He won't do anything to you. Dirty tricks are fine, but if you really do it, Boss Bai won't agree. What Boss Bai hates the most is killing each other in the same class. That's true. Xiaolong understood this, naturally. But what's Boss Bai's background? Can he scare Lin Yi? Boss Bai, haha, the Sky Elixir sect is really strong, right? Right, Coiling Tiger paused. Even the Sky Elixir sect's ancestor, the Sky Man, respects him a lot. He used to be a top elixir refiner in the Jianghu. I heard that he came from a higher plane, but that's just a rumor. No one knows. Oh. Xiaolong paused. He knew that Boss Bai was strong, but that was only limited to the academic world. Boss Bai was very good at learning, but he didn't know that Boss Bai used to have such a prominent identity. However, he felt a little strange. Then, how did he become an ordinary teacher now? It seems that he didn't control it well enough when he was making the elixir, and his meridians got damaged. Right, Coiling Tiger said, I'm not too sure about the specifics, but you know that he's strong. Lin Yi wouldn't dare hurt us. That's good. Xiaolong breathed out in relief. He started thinking about how he could get Wang Xinyan and embarrass Lin Yi. Lin Yi's not only close to Wang Xinyan, but he's also close to Han Jingjing. I'm planning on going after Han Jingjing, so Lin Yi won't be able to take care of both at the same time. I'll go with you to help Big Bro Kong. Right, Coiling Tiger had wanted to mess with Lin Yi for a long time, and getting in touch with Han Jingjing was also a mission from his family. He wouldn't let go of this opportunity to kill two birds with one stone. As expected, Xiaolong was overjoyed. That's great. This way, Lin Yi will have enemies on both sides, and he won't be able to take care of the second one. If we go after her together, he'll definitely make a mistake. That's what I'm thinking, but we need to think about how we're going to do it. Right, Coiling Tiger said. Chapter 24:12. That's easy. My brother is a master at hitting on girls. I'll give him a call and see if he has any good ideas. We can learn from each other. Xiaolong had never hit on girls before. He'd always paid attention to his image, wanting to be a clear contrast to Kong Mingming, but now it seemed that this was his weakness. But life was unpredictable. Xiaolong sighed at his brother's good luck, but at the same time, he let out a sigh of relief. His identity as the future head of House Kong was secured, and House Kong would be able to soar to new heights because of Xiaoming. That's good. Yu Ponhu nodded. He was the young master of House Yu, and he'd never hit on a girl before. It was all girls throwing themselves at him, so he didn't have much experience in this area. There was a chance to interact with Kong Mingming, and he wouldn't let it go on the other side. The two had reached an agreement. They looked at each other with a perverted smile. Without competition, Xiaolong had decided to go the perverted route as well. In a secluded corner of the school, a Mercedes-Benz R350 was parked. Yushu opened the door nervously and got in. ? In the car, an old man saw Yushu and asked, "Why aren't you dead yet? Did you do anything?" Yushu sighed helplessly. It's not that I didn't do anything, but Lin Yi's too strong. The resting grass doesn't work on him. Impossible. The old man slapped the armrest in the car and raged. This resting grass was given to us hidden House Yu by the Sky Elixir sect. It's effective on any practitioner, so why doesn't it work on Lin Yi? I think you have feelings for him, and you don't want to do anything, right? This old man was House Yu's old master's favorite, Yu Yi, and him. The mysterious old man from the mall and the tea house, and the girl was naturally Yushu. It really doesn't work, Yushu said carefully. Lin Yi's too strong. The resting grass really doesn't work on him, and I almost got exposed. So, it's best if we don't do anything to Lin Yi. What if Lin Yi takes it out on House Yu? House Yu has support. Why would we be afraid of him? Yu Yi scoffed. Lin Yi crippled Elder Bai of the Hidden Zhao family in one move. I think you can only last 2 moves. Yushu's voice was a little nervous, but she said it anyway. Speaking of Elder Bai, Yu1 went silent. He was only a Sky class early phase, a line away from Elder Bai. Although the difference wasn't huge, it wasn't small either. So Yui was a little afraid, especially after hearing from Elder Yu about what Lin Yi did in the Noble House meeting. Even Elder Yu wasn't confident that he could beat Lin Yi. Even a few Sky class masters had to gang up on him, so naturally Yu1 had to do it as well. If a Sky class could really take down Lin Yi, then House Yu wouldn't have used Yushu, a chess piece at the risk of being exposed. They'd just let you do it. But Elder Yu didn't dare. Elder Bai was a good example. He didn't dare say that he could cripple Elder Bai in one move, but Lin Yi did it. Didn't that mean that Lin Yi was stronger than Elder Yu? You're speaking for him? Yuan was a little afraid, but he knew that Yushu and Lin Yi had a lot of things going on between them. Naturally, he wouldn't believe Yushu so easily. I have a recording here, listen to it, Yushu said, not bothering to explain. She pulled out her phone and started playing the recording. Oh? Yuan paused. He nodded and listened to the recording on Yushu's phone.
Shu.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my room instead of sleeping in the middle of the night? What's that on the floor? A knife? Are you trying to kill me? Lin Yi's voice came from Yushu's phone. Yeah, what am I doing?
Oh.
I know, Shu's sleepwalking. I was dreaming just now, dreaming that there's a monster in Shield Bro's room, so Shu came over to help Shield Bro fight it. Yushu's voice came from afar. Sleepwalking? You have this problem? Lin Yi's voice said. Oh, yeah, Shu's a little sick. I've had this problem since I was young. Shield Bro, can you take a look at me? Aren't you a miracle doctor? Yushu's voice said. All right, Shu. Also, your sleep should be very good, so in theory you shouldn't be sleepwalking. Plus, there's something called benzoin in the chicken we're having tonight, and it has a calming effect. You won't even be able to go to the toilet after using it, much less sleepwalking. It's even possible that you'll wet your bed. Lin Yi said. What benzoin?
Yushu's voice said.
You don't know? Lin Yi's voice said. I don't know anything, Yushu's voice said. Shu, are you sick? Lin Yi's voice said. Maybe. Shield bro, did you just wake up? Did I wake you up? Yushu's voice said. Yushu cut it off, but these recordings were enough to prove that Lin Yi wasn't affected by the benzoin. Not only that, but he was starting to suspect Yushu. After listening to the recording, Yui's face darkened. He had some doubts about Yushu's words, but now he didn't. He could hear Lin Yi's voice, and since Lin Yi could call out the benzoin's name, it meant that he was on guard. It seemed that Lin Yi wasn't just good at practicing, he was good at medicine as well. I told you Lin Yi isn't easy to deal with. I almost exposed myself. If I pissed him off and he went to house you, who would bear the responsibility? Yushu asked. Even if house you has someone supporting them, would you wait until you're all dead before you take revenge on Lin Yi? This is a serious matter. I need to discuss it with the head. Yui was silent for a moment before getting out of the car and dialing the elder Yu's number. Yushu let out a sigh of relief when she saw Yui make the call. What a close shave. Shield bro, this was the only time I could buy you some time. I hope you'll train hard as soon as possible. He talked on the phone for a full 20 minutes before he opened the door and got into the car again. Chapter 24:13. Yushu's heart skipped a beat when she saw you, but she kept a straight face. Yui closed the car door and said to Yushu with a gloomy face, "The head of the house is very angry. You didn't handle this matter well. There's nothing I can do. Lin Yi is too powerful. What can I do? If you don't give me the antidote and let me die of heat, I can only accept my fate." Yushu was a little nervous at the point. She told everyone about how strong Lin Yi was to save her own life. After all, no one wanted to die. The old master will give you another chance, since it's not your fault, Yui said. Oh. Yushu didn't think that her gamble was right. Houseu didn't have the intention to kill her, but on the surface, Yushu didn't show it. What chance? Monitor Lin Yi. Yuan said, "We absolutely cannot allow Lin Yi to interact with Houseu's Yuning. If there's anything unusual, inform us immediately." Yuning? Yushu blinked. What's his relationship with Yuning? You don't know? Yui was surprised. He didn't expect Yushu to not know about Lin Yi and Yuning. What do I know? Yushu was even more confused. Lin Yi knows people from Houseu? You don't need to know so much. Yui snorted and said, "You just have to be clear. Don't let him contact Yuning. Otherwise, we will cut off the supply of medicine to you." Oh, all right. Yushu nodded. Don't forget who you are. You're our spy in the common world. If you want to get rid of the fire poison and meet your parents, you'll have to listen to us. Yui said. Oh, my parents, are they well? A trace of sadness flashed in Yushu's eyes. She'd never seen her parents' faces since she was young, and she didn't even know who they were. How sad was that? The only thing Yushu knew was that they were locked up by Houseu. If you're good, they'll naturally be good. They will naturally be buried with you. Yui said faintly. Oh. Yushu sighed. Every time she asked, the answer was the same. If she didn't secretly take Yutian's blood sample for a DNA test, she wouldn't believe that she wasn't Yutian's biological sister. However, she didn't dare to ask her parents about the truth of the matter, much less old man Chen. She was afraid that Houseu would see the problem, to harm her parents, and Houseu didn't allow her to reveal this secret. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. You know the rules. Don't have feelings for Lin Yi, and don't lose your virginity. Otherwise, if you die, your parents will die too, warned Yui. Oh. Yushu nodded. All right, it's about time. You can go back. Yui said lightly. Okay. Yushu opened the car door and got out, her underwear soaked in sweat. It had only been half an hour, but she'd already been soaked in sweat. She'd experienced life and death. Phew. Yushu let out a long sigh and tried to calm herself down. On her face, there was that silly, sneaky smile again as she walked towards the economics building. Drive, you see, Yui said to the driver. Yes, big brother, you see, replied. They're both young misses, but their fates are completely different. Yu Yi sighed and muttered to himself. Big brother, what did you say? Yu Si froze. He didn't understand Yu Yi's words. Nothing, just drive. Yu Yi naturally wouldn't explain anything to Yu Si. There were many things that were House Yu's top secrets. Only he, old man Yu, and the current head of the house, Yu Shaoqin, knew about it. Okay. Yu Si didn't ask much. He naturally understood the rules of House Yu. Yu Shu returned to the class and informed the teacher before sitting next to Meng Yao. Shu, what's wrong with you? You went to the washroom for more than half an hour? Meng Yao looked at the time on her phone. She asked curiously. Oh, I got up in a hurry this morning and forgot to go to the washroom. Yu Shu stuck her tongue out. That's still too long. Why didn't you fall in? Meng Yao didn't ask anymore and continued listening to the class. Heh. Yu Shu said, I almost fell in. The class passed quickly, and Lin Yi finished his practice. He opened his eyes and was about to say something to Xinyan when he saw Pan Hu and Xiaolong walking towards him. Xinyan, want to go for a walk? Xiaolong walked to Lin Yi's table and extended his hand, inviting Xinyan. He didn't seem to care about Lin Yi at all. Han Jingjing, how's your pill refining going? At the same time, Right Coiling Tiger sat down beside Han Jingjing and asked, Let's exchange some pointers? Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. What were these two doing? One was trying to get close to Xinyan, and the other was trying to get close to Han Jingjing. Were these two prepared? Sorry, I want to read. Xinyan didn't show any disgust towards Xiaolong, but she didn't show too much passion either. She only waved the book in her hand calmly. Haha, Xinyan, we're a couple after all. We haven't seen each other for so long. Can't you give me a chance? Xiaolong smiled. Sorry, it's the end of the semester soon. I need to study hard, and there's still a lot of questions I don't know. Xinyan maintained her smile as she spoke indifferently. I see. Haha, I'm a PhD after all. You can ask me if you don't know anything, I'll help you. Xiaolong reacted quickly. He could find a way to interact with Xinyan if she wanted to study. He smiled and sat in the seat in front of Lin Yi. It was break time, and the students in front of Lin Yi went out to exercise. This was a good opportunity for Xiaolong. Oh, that's fine. Xinyan flipped open her notebook and pushed a question in front of Xiaolong. Then I'll have to trouble you to analyze this for me. Professor Kong, what's the role of the burnt betel nut in this prescription? Can it be replaced with other herbs? Is the effect of the replacement better or weaker than the previous prescription? Let me see. Xiaolong took Xinyan's notes, but his face changed when he took a closer look at the question. This was a very obscure recipe. Xiaolong hadn't even seen it before. Chapter 24:14. He didn't even know what kind of illness this prescription was for, let alone what the medicinal properties of these herbs would be after they were combined together, let alone replacing one of the herbs. After a while, Xiaolong's forehead was covered in cold sweat. But Xiaolong was a doctor after all. He didn't understand what this prescription meant, but he knew what the burnt betel nut was. He said directly, this burnt betel nut is one of the Jiao Si Xian. The Jiao Si Xian refers to the burnt hawthorn, the burnt malt, the burnt shinsu, and the burnt betel nut. These four ingredients have very similar effects. They're all good for treating indigestion, poor appetite, and indigestion. So, this burnt betel nut can be replaced with any of the other three ingredients from the Jiao Si Xian. As for the effects, it should be about the same. Is that so? Xinyan nodded, deep in thought. But what does this prescription mean? I don't really understand it. This prescription is basically used to treat indigestion and poor appetite. It also has the effect of soothing the liver and stomach, Xiaolong said casually. After you change it, the effect of the prescription is greatly reduced. Indigestion and poor appetite? This is a prescription for stopping diarrhea and dysentery. Burnt betel nut has the effect of stopping diarrhea and dysentery. Where are the other ingredients you mentioned? Lin Yi said faintly as he glanced at Xiaolong. You. Then tell me, what does this prescription mean? Xiaolong's face darkened when Lin Yi rebuked him. Lin Yi's words made sense, and the burnt betel nut did have that effect, but he felt that Lin Yi was being unreasonable. How could this prescription stop diarrhea and dysentery? You don't understand this prescription? I thought this was what your house Kong is best at. Lin Yi looked at Xiaolong and explained, split this prescription into two. One is for stopping diarrhea and dysentery, and the other is for nourishing the body after stopping diarrhea and dysentery. Ah. Xiaolong paused. He took a closer look and realized that it really was the case. Previously, he had been bound by the idea that there was only one prescription and one effect. He did not even consider that this was a combination of two unrelated prescriptions, so it was normal that he could not understand it. However, Lin Yi had said that the Kong family was the best at this. Xiaolong's face darkened. House Kang's weight loss medicine was the same trick, but it was exposed by Miracle Dr. Guan's company. It was a great humiliation to Dr. Kang's company. So it's that simple. Xinyan understood. She had been thinking about this question for days. It was one of Boss Bai's thinking questions, but she didn't have a standard answer. It was said that there was a bonus question in the final exam. It would be one of the two bonus questions that Boss Bai usually gave. However, these questions were very strange, and Boss Bai didn't give an answer. He had to wait until after the exam, so the students could only think about it themselves. Xinyan wanted to ask Lin Yi, but she remembered that Lin Yi hadn't come to class for a long time. He should be taking the time to make up for it, so she didn't ask. Xiaolong just happened to be in trouble. Xinyan's "it's that simple" came from the bottom of her heart. But when Xiaolong heard it, he felt that it was quite ironic. After all, Xiaolong was a PhD student. It was a world of difference compared to the knowledge of these first-year students. Xiaolong couldn't get angry at Lin Yi for stealing his limelight. He couldn't make a comeback, so he could only accept it. Dr. Kong, you should go back and study. Otherwise, your thesis won't pass, Lin Yi said faintly. This kind of question is actually a brain twister. It's not common in daily practice and research. It can't be used as a standard for knowledge. Xiaolong laughed. There are so many doctors on TV who can't answer those brain-twisting questions. It's normal. But after saying that, Xiaolong was just finding an excuse for his mistake. He wouldn't have the face to stay here any longer. After saying a few words, he left with his tail between his legs. Right Coiling Tiger, on the other hand, had a bitter expression on his face. Because, no matter what he said, Han Jingjing didn't care about him at all. She just ignored him. Han Jingjing was currently calculating something on her tablet computer. Her expression was very engrossed, as though she was not paying attention to the outside world and only focused on reading the books of sages. No matter what Right Coiling Tiger said, she remained expressionless, not even raising her eyebrows. In this kind of situation, even if Right Coiling Tiger talked like a river, Han Jingjing could only pretend to be deaf and mute. Right Coiling Tiger, are you telling a story? Lin Yi turned to the chattering Right Coiling Tiger after dealing with Xiaolong. Of course not. I just wanted to discuss with Han Jingjing about the experience of being a refiner. After all, we're all refiners. The more the better, Right Coiling Tiger said. Oh, actually, Han Jingjing has hit a bottleneck recently. She's very focused on calculating something. It's normal that she didn't hear what you said. I talked to her, but she often doesn't hear me. Lin Yi explained. Then, as if afraid that Right Coiling Tiger wouldn't believe him, he called out, Han Jingjing? Han Jingjing didn't reply. She continued calculating. Is that so? Han Huyu nodded doubtfully. After all, Han Jingjing didn't reply when he called out to her, so it was possible that she was immersed in it. Yes. Lin Yi nodded seriously. He laughed inside. Han Jingjing wasn't stupid. She knew how to play along. Then what bottleneck did she hit? I'll go ask my grandpa. We can discuss it before telling her. Right Coiling Tiger didn't want to give up. Actually, she did run into some trouble. She just doesn't want to trouble others. Lin Yi pretended to be troubled, because this is really troublesome. Even I can't do anything about it. Even you can't? Right Coiling Tiger heard Lin Yi's words. He saw how Lin Yi suppressed Zhaolong. He was afraid that Lin Yi would use the same trick to force him away. Right Coiling Tiger was very careful. When he heard Lin Yi say that Han Jingjing was in trouble, he didn't say that he could solve it himself. Instead, he said that he would discuss it with his grandpa. This was to prevent Lin Yi from giving him a hard problem. However, when he heard Lin Yi say that Lin Yi couldn't do anything about it, Right Coiling Tiger was happy. Yes, but Han Jingjing thinks that this is troublesome. She shouldn't trouble you. She can solve it herself, Lin Yi said. Chapter 24:15. I say, Lin Yi, you're not Han Jingjing. How do you know that she doesn't want to trouble me? Besides, we're all classmates. Helping her solve some problems is what I should do. Right Coiling Tiger's heart was moved as he said so. Listening to Lin Yi's tone, he thought that Lin Yi wanted to chase him away as soon as possible. Right Coiling Tiger naturally wouldn't let Lin Yi have his way. After all, he had learned from Kong Zhaolong's mistake. He was originally ordered by his family to get close to Han Jingjing. He wanted to see how good Han Jingjing's alchemy skills were. Naturally, he wouldn't give up so easily. I'm afraid that you won't be able to help after I say it. I'm afraid that you'll lose face. You really don't know what's good for you, Lin Yi said. Fuck, I already said that I can't help. If I ask my grandfather, he'll definitely be able to help. Right Coiling Tiger said angrily. You're not me. How do you know that I won't have face? Besides, with our Yu family strength, there's really nothing we can't help with in terms of alchemy. The reason why Right Coiling Tiger was so confident was that the Yu family had the Heavenly Elixir Sect's backing. If the Yu family couldn't do it, the Heavenly Elixir Sect could, right? That's why he boasted. Chapter 24:16. Haha, since Big Bro Kong is so generous, Yuponhu can't be stingy either. I'll sponsor 10,000 as well. Yuponhu finally found a chance to show off, and he couldn't let it go. He wanted to build a good relationship with Boss Bai, so naturally, he had to support him. Alright, since Yuponhu is paying, then you don't have to pay for yourselves. Let's pay from Yuponhu's 10,000. Boss Bai was quite satisfied with Yuponhu's performance. Although this guy was a bit of a spoiled brat, he was very active in class activities. Lin Yi looked at Zhaolong and Yuponhu coldly. These two were together as soon as they arrived. They were in cahoots. No wonder Zhaolong came back to chase Xinyan. Did House Kong hook up with House Yu? Then, the harmful prescriptions that House Kong came up with could be explained. It was probably House Yu who came up with them and asked them to produce and sell them. However, what was the relationship between House Kong and House Yu? Lin Yi still had to observe. The most important thing now was, should he go to the winter outing? Lin Yi looked at Xinyan beside him and asked in a low voice, Winter outing, are you going? It's a school activity. Of course, I have to go, Xinyan said nervously. Oh, then I'll go too. Lin Yi was looking at Xinyan. If she went, then he would naturally go. He didn't have much chance to improve his relationship with Xinyan, and it would be best if he could use the opportunity of the winter outing to resolve the awkwardness between them. On the surface, Xinyan didn't say anything. She pretended to be calm as she picked up the textbook, but in her heart, she felt helpless. Now that Zhaolong had come to her class, the flames of war between Lin Yi and Zhaolong were about to explode. She could tell from Lin Yi's tone when he helped her with the problem. Lin Yi was very unfriendly toward Zhaolong, but Xinyan couldn't say out loud. She was afraid of hurting Lin Yi's self-esteem. In her mind, Lin Yi was a person with high self-esteem. Secondly, she was afraid that after she told Lin Yi the truth, Lin Yi would go against the Kong family prematurely, bringing unnecessary trouble to Lin Yi. As long as he endured for 4 years, Xinyan believed that with her help and Lin Yi's diligent training, standing at the top of the ancient sects wouldn't be a problem at all. Looking at the development of the past year, Lin Yi had gone from a small character who couldn't even compete with the common families to an existence that could almost compete with the hidden families. For years, he seemed to have underestimated Lin Yi. But no matter what, now wasn't the time for Lin Yi to go against the Sky Elixir sect. She had no choice but to remain silent. Boss Bai started his lesson. Xiaolong and Tiger Right. He began to study it in a low voice. Big Brother Kong, this winter outing is a good opportunity. If you want to pursue Wang Xinyan, we should start planning. Tiger Right said. Xiaolong nodded. That's why I donated the money. This is a good opportunity. Let's see how we can make use of it. I have a good idea. Do you want to hear it, Big Brother Kong? Tiger Right and Wang Xinyan's relationship couldn't be good in a short period of time. After all, he was different from Xiaolong. Xiaolong and Wang Xinyan were officially engaged, and he and Han Jingjing weren't even friends. So, he didn't want to get close to Han Jingjing during the winter outing. He only donated the money to please Boss Bai. Go ahead, brother you. I'm really a noob when it comes to picking up girls, Xiaolong said shamelessly. My idea is actually very simple. Let's go to the natural ski resort in Jiduan City first and see the environment of the ski resort. Then, we will find a way to create some romantic events. Yupanu said, don't girls like romance? And Wang Xinyan is your fiancé. You can invite her to do something romantic. I don't think it's a problem. You're right. Xiaolong nodded in agreement. I was going to ask my brother, but you're right, lil bro you. Let's go check it out this afternoon. Xiaolong nodded. Sure. I'll go with you. Tiger Right didn't just want to get close to Boss Bai and Han Jingjing. Getting close to Xiaolong was just as important. Naturally, he agreed. He came up with this idea because he wanted to get closer to Xiaolong. Hidden House Yu. Yu Yi reported Yushu and Lin Yi's situation to Old Yu and Yu Shaochen. In the secret room, Old Yu frowned. He seemed to be considering the feasibility of this plan. After a while, he sighed. Forget it. We can't kill Lin Yi for now. Let Yushu stay by his side. It'll be a distraction for him. As long as he doesn't meet with Yu Ning, the two of them shouldn't do anything to catch us off guard. Old Yu was just comforting himself. He didn't have the ability to kill Lin Yi. He couldn't do it openly or in the dark. He could only lie to himself. He hoped that he could keep an eye on Yu Ning and not let her meet with Lin Yi. Yushu could also keep Lin Yi in check. If there was any movement, she could tell him immediately. We won't find trouble with Lin Yi, but with Lin Yi's growth speed, I'm afraid that Lin Yi will find trouble with us first. Xiao Chun hesitated before voicing his opinion. Lin Yi's growth speed is simply too shocking. When he destroyed the common world House Yu, we didn't think much of him at all, thinking that Yu Huixing would be able to take care of him. But now, he's become our enemy in the blink of an eye. Yeah. Yui nodded. According to Miss Yushu's description, that Lin Yi is too strong. We can't poison him, and the benzoin is useless against him. We can only hope that the matter will come soon. We'll send Yuning away and push the problem to that place. We won't have to worry about Lin Yi looking for trouble again. How can we guess what's going on in that place? Old Yu smiled bitterly. We can only do what they want us to do. But if we succeed this time, whether Yu Ning and the others come back or not, our hidden house Yu will become heroes. That place won't mistreat us. It seems like we can only endure it for now. Yu Shaochen nodded. Not bad. As for Yushu, have you talked to her? Don't let anything happen between her and Lin Yi. Old Yu asked. You're tuning in to the Bromantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.